Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 80th CAF update. It's a great night. We've had a wonderful last week. We had lots of fun. We had Howard Chaykin on the show last Saturday. We got to do the best of awards on Tuesday, and we've got a lot to talk about with regards to the best of. We're going to pretty much end tonight's show with hopefully Mikhail and Brian on with me, and we're going to just kind of recap the pros and the cons that went on with the best of awards and how we can make it better for many years to come. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. Like I mentioned in the email I sent out the other day, we had a really great. It was a leap forward in the whole proceedings, but I think we can do a much better job in for the best of 2022. So that will be high on my list as something that we can make it into a much more fun and enjoyable and more encompassing award ceremony for original art collecting and also the creators who are so important to our hobby. We wouldn't have any art without them. So very, very interesting show tonight. There's going to be a lot of off-script things that you've not seen before. That is for sure. So before we get started on everything, nice to see everybody. Jordan, nice to see you in here as well. Jeffrey, Victor, Ron, hey, Mr. Red Jack, nice purchase last night on Dueling Dealers, Mr. Red Jack. That Thanos was pretty darn incredible. Congratulations on that. That's going to look good on your wall. Who else we got here? Rick Welch. I mean, we got a whole crowd of people. So I'm really happy to have everybody here tonight. So again, we're going to mix things up. The schedule of the order of the show is going to be a bit different because we're going to end the show with the recap for the best of. I'm going to do the CAF update somewhere in the middle. But we've really got something special to start the show off with this evening. Last night, I was messaged by Larry and James asking if it wouldn't be cool if we got some acceptance speeches from the best of awards from the winners that were out there. And so they solicited everyone that won an award, so to all 13 people, and we've got some good follow-up and feedback. Not everybody was willing to kind of go on screen, so I've got some slides with some commentary that I will read, but I've got also some cool video commentary and acceptance speeches from several people, and I've got several folks in the green room tonight, and that's how we're going to kick the show off tonight. So why don't we get that started right now? Because I'm curious to see how this is all going to work out. So let me bring on my first guest of the night. But first, let me remind you what award they picked up on Tuesday evening. And of course, our first guest is going to be Felix from that awesome Frank Miller piece. And, this would be a cornerstone in most people's collections. And Felix, nice to have you on. You're on mute, just so you know. Oh, he's got it. You're muted right now, Felix. Your mic is off. Nope. See it down below? I don't know if you can hear me, but your mic is actually muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. Nope, I can't do it because you muted yourself. Uh-oh. Nope, it's the mute button, man. Right at the bottom of the screen. Because you're on your phone. Felix is having internet troubles today, so he was not able to use his Comcast. He probably accidentally muted his phone. I don't know if you can hear me. Up. Let's see. What do we got here? Well, you know what? Maybe we'll skip Felix first because I think he is using his phone and he has accidentally muted himself. So, yep, he did. So I'll bring in the second guest and hopefully Felix will pop back in here. So let me show you the slide. See, I told you it was going to be thrills and spills and chills, and it's more spills at the moment to get things started here. But next up, Steve N. was the winner in a tie in the non-comic cover pinups, illustrations, and gaming art with this awesome Frazetta Mina piece, and an absolute stunner. And that's why I had to have a blown up version right beside it because you just can't appreciate the pure beauty of that piece without seeing it up close, right, Steve?
Appreciate it, Bill. Yeah.
No, my pleasure. Like we were talking in the green room. Maybe next year you'll be doing this acceptance speech live with
spontaneously.
Me. Everyone's like, it could happen. It really could happen.
Speeches will be crazy, drunk. You never know.
Exactly. Right. Well, so I'm glad you chose to come on here and do your acceptance speech live with me. It's an honor. So, again, it was, obviously it was a great pickup. We featured that. We talked about that piece a couple times. I mean, love it. I'm a huge fan of Frazetta. So, what do you got to say?
I appreciate it, Bill. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who voted. Larry was threatening me, saying that all the speeches were such high caliber and serious. So I thought, no singing. I'll be serious too. But I'd like to start by mentioning that while they were still with us, Frank and Bernie, they had nothing but good things to say about each other. So I think this is quite the fitting result, and I hope
Oh,
that they're
indeed.
smiling. Yeah, yeah. I hope that they're smiling down at us from that great inkwell in the sky, borrowing a phrase from a fellow collector, my CFA AP editor, David Applegate.
Oh, wow.
And another thought I had, there isn't much in the way of like superlatives that I could add about Frank Frazetta and his influence that hasn't already been said. But as I was reading through some of my art books about him, I realized like he started like anyone else, Bill, like any other artist. He was young, unproven, hungry. He had his doubts, frustrations, but he grinded and he grinded, and over time, I think collectors, fans, admirers, they recognized him and his work, and they collected him, encouraged him, and helped lift him like to the stratospheric heights that his legacy has since really attained. So I think today, we as collectors, and I love that you and Mikhail and everyone just kept bringing this theme up as well. It really resonated that we as collectors should heed that same calling, like to seek out new talent, emerging artists, to recognize them, collect them, cheer them on, to lift them, so that our future hopefully is as bright as our past. So Mr. Frazetta, I think he frequently offered advice to up-and-comers, and he wouldn't have had it any other way. So last but not least, as I hear the music, just kidding. But I'd like to thank my fellow collector conversation alumni. You guys all know who you are, for the good times and laughs every single day. Too much in some ways. My family for more or less enabling me, and Sarah Frazetta for her friendship and encouragement. So onward and happy collecting, everyone. And Felix, please unmute yourself.
Well, well said, Steve.
Yeah.
Well said. Thank you so much. And I can't tell you how happy I am that you won the award, and also, like you said, tying with the Bernie Wrightson piece in Julian's collection as well. Two incredible pieces by two incredible creators. So thank you again.
Thank you. Let's on with the show.
All right. So now I'm going to bring Felix in. I can see we've got the phone problem worked out. Hey, Felix, how are we doing?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yes, we can. Sorry about that.
Fingers crossed.
Oh yeah. No, we've got audio now.
No worries. My internet is completely wonky. I think all day long. Thanks for your patience while I work this out, and thanks for doing everything, Bill. Thanks to you. Thanks to Brian. And thanks to everyone who voted and voted for my piece. It's always exciting to get votes like that. But I also want to congratulate everyone who participated, not just those who won. But if you had 5 pieces to show off in best of, you had a pretty good year. I'm pretty proud that I have participated in every single one of these since I got into the hobby back in 2005, year in and year out. And some years there are better pieces than others. Some years I'm submitting pieces I'm fairly certain, won't get many votes, if any votes, but I'm always sharing because they're pieces I'm proud about. And I hope everyone feels the same way about their art. Back early on, it used to be primarily vintage art and big names. And I think, people really were only sharing, the obvious marquee pieces. But these days, we're just seeing so much more varied art. And now you opened up to all these different categories. And one thing I really enjoy seeing are all the modern pieces. There's more modern art represented
very true.
than ever. Yeah. So yeah, thanks, Bill. And if Brian's going to come on later, thank him too. I think Brian was actually, early on was the one I think got me into it. And I think he is the one, at least on the public message boards, who's always, sort of, cheerleading and getting everyone involved. Yeah.
Yeah, no, without Brian, we wouldn't have the best of today. I mean, he was instrumental in keeping it going as the comic art L was fading a bit, and also instrumental in bringing it to me and asking me to take it over the hosting of it. So, and even early on, I just gave him just the bare bones code to make it work. And every year he kept at it until I kind of caught on and realized that this is a lot of fun and I should be doing more to promote it. So, the last couple of years we've done a little bit more, and every year I think we're going to keep adding on to it.
Yeah, and how you guys have tweaked it has made it a lot easier too. And I like that we can, vote for 5 pieces now. There are more categories. I think it's definitely more inclusive, and it's always been fun, but it's actually getting better. We were sort of used to how it had been for all these years, and now you guys have changed it up again, and good times. So thanks everyone.
All right, Felix, thanks so much. And again, congratulations. I mean, that was it's an amazing piece. Anyone who's a fan of Frank's work would love to have that piece in their collection. And I'm just so happy it ended up in yours. I know you're thrilled to have it.
Yeah, thanks to Frank Miller. Thanks to Jason Schachter. It was definitely a highlight of not just collecting here, but collecting for however many years. One of the most exciting days when that came in the mail. So yeah, thanks everyone.
All right, Felix, thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. And I saw Scott Wingo said my mic sounds better. That's because now the mic is actually in front of me rather than being over there. So I apologize starting the show like that. I'm still a novice at this after almost 2 years, but so here we are. Next up, this is a little bit interesting, but Fish had told me that he couldn't be here, so I've got a special recording that I literally got about 30 minutes before the show. So I whipped this thing together and I've put it into the stream, and I'm going to show it off right now for everyone. Here we go.
I'm really sorry that Fish couldn't be here and accept the award today, but the winner is Groot! That's not the winner.
What do you mean? It is the winner.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Max, go away.
Fine.
And the winner is Silver Surfer!
Hey everybody, Fish Ben's here. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Isn't this part of the video kind of creepy? A little bit, a little shrine-ish, right? I figure you don't need me in the shot. Just want to look at that beautiful John Buscema. I didn't do anything, I just bought it. Speaking of which, I don't know if you guys saw in the chat yesterday during the award show, but 3 of those winners came right out of Rob Pastella's collection. The Frazetta, the Bernie Wrightson, and this. They all belonged to him last year. He's got the best taste around. Anyways, thank you very much, Bill Cox, not just for the award, but for the last couple of years. You've made this all super fun and super duper expensive. Really, you're costing me my marriage, man. And thanks to the rest of you. Thanks my buddies, James, Jason, all the guys in these addicts chat also, egging everyone on, egging me on, making me spend way too much money, but I couldn't be happier. Thank you very much for the award. Hopefully see you guys again in the winner's circle next year.
Hey, and look at who we actually have, Mr. Fish. How's it go, Fish? That was a very unique presentation there. I really appreciate that.
Originally I was only going to do the live part, and Larry messages me like an hour beforehand. He said, I just want to let you know that Dino did something very special. So no pressure. And I said, are you kidding me? How am I going to live up to that? I said, did he use any special effects? He goes, I'm not saying anything. So I said, what do I possibly have that I could, stand up to Dino with? I was like, oh, I have these 2 cute kids. Maybe I'll use them. But I don't know. And then I come on here and Steven's talking about an inkwell in the sky and our future as bright as our past. And I was like, oh, at least Felix with his microphone made me feel a little better. But yeah, I just wanted a minute to say thank you, of course, Bill, to you. But also just when I came in the hobby, there are so many people who've been in the hobby for so long, whether it was, Rob or Dan Paddock or Dino or Bill Wu or Nick, just old timers in the hobby who for nothing, not for any money, just took me under their wing and taught me stuff and told me stuff. And of course, all the young guys that, somewhat young guys, or I guess we're not so young, but that chat with nonstop guys like James and Jason and Bob and Sean and all these guys, Aranga and Steve, and it's just been so much fun. But most of all, I just wanted to say, my father who passed away last year when we were young, he would take us to the comic shop every single Friday, me and my 2 brothers, and every Friday, we'd each be able to buy 3 or 4 books, and then he'd buy a couple of the trade paperbacks. And the whole weekend, we would just read those books, and he encouraged it, and he loved it. And my kids are into it now, and my daughter has original art in her room. My son really wants one of my expensive pages, and he's very serious about that. But, it's going to the next generation. Yeah, it's great. It's been a fantastic few years in the hobby. And thank you, Bill.
Hey, Fish, it's been a pleasure getting to know you as well. And as I've said, I think more than once, you do deserve your own show on the channel. If you ever want one, you just give me the format and we will work it out.
All right,
Because
Bill, we'll talk.
yeah, you are a joy to chat with. Honestly, I mean, just like everybody was on the collector chats, and it's been for me this last year, it's been great just getting to know you and everybody else especially in the Facebook group chat. I don't get to read them all, but I pop in all the time and kind of browse it a little bit, and it's just fun to see the camaraderie that we've all kind of formed over the last year and year and a half.
A lot of great guys in that chat. A lot of
Exactly.
great information, a lot of great conversations, and yeah, so much fun.
Oh,
Anyways, good luck with the show tonight, Bill. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, hey, my pleasure. Thank you, Fish.
Okay, bye.
All right. So see, that was interesting. We got to mix it up a little bit here. So we're mixing it up from, I think, beginning to end. But next up, I'm going to read 4 different slides that were given to me. And again, Larry, thank you so much for pulling these all together. I know you worked really hard to get these quotes from the collectors who were willing to provide us with some quotes here. So let me go off and read the first one. This was for the best published and unpublished strip art award, and it was won by Chris K. And they had this to say: I was simultaneously surprised and thrilled to see my Prince Valiant piece in the top 5, let alone winning the best of 2021 strip category. There were 3 great Foster Valiant pieces for folks to choose from, and 2 other tremendous examples from the collections of good friends. It's great to know that a creator as skilled as Hal Foster and his signature creation that originally launched in 1937 both remain so respected by art collectors to this day. Huge thanks to Bill Cox and comic art fans for another great best of, Chris K. So yeah, and that was a fantastic piece, and congratulations to Chris once again. And again, well said. I mean, that's what's great about the hobby, and again, why we want to spread the love of the best of and try to just raise the hobby up, and like Felix mentioned, really bringing in newer creators, pieces that you might not expect to see in the best of. This really is about sharing the hobby with with ourselves, and hopefully with new people as they stumble into CAF or they stumble across these videos. We want them to know how special the creators are and the artwork is, and how much joy there can be in collecting original art. So the next slide I've got is from Rick W., who won the best published unpublished other category. And Rick had this to say: just want to give a big thanks to all the art fans that voted for the Rights and Swampy, and say congrats to the other winners. So much great art posted in 2021. A shout out to Glenn Brunswick for making it possible, a smooth and easy trade, and a huge thank you to Bill Cox and everyone behind the scenes for making this such a fun time to be in the hobby. And here. I mean, the hobby has never been more fun than it has been in the last few years. And it's all of us getting together that makes it that way. Next up, this is from Julian, and winner of the published non-comic cover pinups, illustrations, and gaming art. He had this to say: I am happy to hear about my win. Please give my thanks to Bill. Without CAF as a platform, this wouldn't be possible, and the hobby would be less interesting. Love the whole community and the beautiful pieces one gets to see. Best from Germany, from Julian. So here, a global competition, as we all know. And finally, this is, let's see if I can get this slide up there. Here we go. This one is from Bill J. And this was one of the special awards that Mikhail and I gave out, the most commented art of 2021. Bill said, I saw the announcement on the show last night, and I was very honored. I've always felt that it really says something about a piece when a whole lot of people take the time to actually make a comment. So I really appreciate all the collectors who took the time out to make comments on my collection. But the real credit should go to John Byrne and Bob Layton, whose incredible work still holds up beautifully today. Please pass on my thanks to Bill and the gang. Best wishes, Bill J. And here. It's a celebration of the creators as much as it is a celebration of us collecting original comic art. So I've got 4 additional video presentations that are in recognition of their awards and acceptance speeches. So I'm going to cue that up for you right here. I've actually not watched any of these. I just pulled them together without listening to them. So this is a first go through for myself as well.
Hey, this is Ron. Thanks to everyone for voting for my Simonson piece. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to getting my hammer. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. Jeff Dunn here. Thank you guys so much for voting for the Brian Stelfreeze piece. He deserves all of the credit for it. He did an insanely great job. He was my first stop at Baltimore Comic Con, and it's just the fact that it was supposed to be a headshot and he did a torso, and just the stuff that he did with it is just amazing. And once again, thank you guys so much for voting for it, and thanks to all the other people who were in the top 5, and just everybody who put a piece in to this category and all the categories. I mean, more than 1,600 pieces of art this year. That's just insane, and I'm sure Bill's right. It's going to be more than 2,000 next year, and this category in particular is going to just be crazy in 2022. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more conventions, so I'm looking forward to seeing all the great art. And once again, thanks to Bill and to comic art fans and to all the other comic art fans out there. And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure Brian does too. And I wish I did have his email so I could tell him. Have a great night, everybody.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Great show so far. Thanks, Bill, and congratulations to all the winners. I'm so honored to be voted Best in Show for my Dave Stevens Betty Page cover from Movie Star News, and thrilled it was the top vote getter across all categories. I'm especially grateful because the recognition comes from friends, fellow collectors, and others in this CAF community that I'm so blessed to be part of. This Dave Stevens cover is a very special piece to me. One of the best and most iconic works from a talented artist that left us far too soon. I'd like to take this moment to celebrate the artist, Dave Stevens, and his incredible contributions to comic and illustration art. Stevens was best known as creator and artist for The Rocketeer and his glamour pinup illustrations, especially of model Betty Page. Stevens' tragic passing to leukemia in 2008 was a moment of sad, collective sorrow for the hobby. Today, any Dave Stevens piece is a rare treasure. I'm so proud to have a piece of his greatness in my collection. I also want to thank each of you, whether I got your vote or not, for making my 2021 collecting journey so fun and memorable. Thank you for your support and enthusiasm for amateur dueling dealers, collector conversations, and all the fun memes we've had along the way. In closing, I'd like to share a CAF-inspired twist on a famous Irish blessing to wish you a joyful and enriching 2022. May CAF views rise up to meet you. May Thor's hammer be always at your back. May warm fellowship shine upon your gallery. And may Marcus comments always be aplenty. May personal values soar for the art you collect. May bricks fill the path beneath you. May Sharon bake the cakes that surround you. And may fun be the memes that entertain you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the chat.
I am humbled to receive this recognition. I would like to thank Bill and the people behind the scenes at Comic Art Fans in this channel. I would like to thank Mikhail for recognizing the value of communication around art. I would also like to thank the Academy of Commenters. Their tireless appreciation for art that they don't own or may never own is inspiring and fun. Now, I don't keep statistics of how many comments I make. My only thought is that I'll be able to read some of these old comments and see it like a journal of what my mindset was like that day. Like all things, I'll probably slow down. People will ask, why would you make an effort to engage people, and what's in it for you? You're not making any money on doing this. What's your agenda? Are you just trying to cold call? I could tell you that other than CAF Live, I have not cold called anyone about buying or selling. First, my motivation is to mainly show that it's okay to show your personality in the comments. You can be silly or serious, but at least do so out of fun. Secondly, I hope it opens up discourse to see comic art beyond just dollar signs, and it was made for entertainment that enriches the kid in all of us. And lastly, I want to acknowledge the pieces that don't get much traction. To the people who take time to post them, you're not alone. I hope that we see that what they saw when they bought the artwork. We could get more people interested and participate in comic art if it's just not the same old club of people who get the top comments or views with the most expensive art. If I just want to see expensive stuff, I just look at a bank statement. My hope for the next person who receives this recognition is that they carry on with some of these motivations. So thank you again. I'll see you in the comments section. Make minds Lord Havoc.
Wow. This is, everyone in this hobby really makes me so proud. From Dino, from that amazing way you rounded out that acceptance speech, to Marcus as well, for your thoughts behind why it's so important to you to comment. And I do believe it encourages other people to comment as well. And I can't thank you enough. And you were so deserving of that award. And, again, I can't thank everyone enough for supporting CAF by sharing your collections there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's what this hobby, it's what makes the hobby fun for me. I mean, we as collectors like to be able to share the joy that we have of the collections and the artwork that we own in it. And again, I've mentioned fellowship before. That's an incredibly important part about it. But I look forward to the future, and hopefully more opportunities for us to get together. That's something we'll talk a little bit about later as well. But where we can bring a few Itoyos with us and share them and enjoy it, and leave comments in person about how great someone's collection is, or a fine interior page that's done by an artist they've never known before. So again, thank you everybody for making the best of it. Such a joy for me to help wrangle with Brian and now Mikhail. And like I mentioned, at the end of today's show, we'll spend as much time as is needed to rehash some of the things that went well and get your feedback and some thoughts, and certainly encourage you to email both Mikhail, myself, and Brian later on with other thoughts on how we can make the best of a really important part of this hobby going forward. So again, thank you everyone. So on with the show here. So I want to get to lots of other things that I've got on my mind, but the calendar is up next, and because it's getting jam-packed. I'm a little surprised that I've done this to myself, but we've got a lot of things coming up with regards to art sales. Next Wednesday, I'll have a Dueling Dealer show, and hopefully I will not be hosting it. Well, I'll be hosting it, but I hopefully will not be participating in the sales of it. Mike will be in Florida. He thinks he'll be able to do the presentations, but we're not sure yet. So I may have to take over for him. We'll see. It's $1,000 and under show, 48 artworks in total between Mike and Anthony. So one of those lower end shows. On the Monday, February 14th, they'll have Davi Go on with Jiggy Cruz from Next Comic Art. There'll be a few pieces of art for sale. It'll be a creator interview, lots of fun, a lot like with the Manic show. We'll do a regular Dueling Dealer show on the 16th. Then on Monday, the 21st, we'll have it's been a long time since we've had an amateur Dueling Dealer show, but it will be Kat Taka versus Sharon. And we've kind of finessed the pricing levels on there, so it'll be a little different than any of the other shows we've ever done. But I'm quite certain it will be a very enjoyable show. And we're going to follow that up with another $1,000 and under show during that same week on that Wednesday. Now on 2/26, I'm going to have a show very much like the Howard Chaykin show, but I'll be doing it with two creators, one after another, Afua Richardson and then Carl Maline. And that's going to be an interesting approach. Basically, somebody who knows them both asked that I give it a try, and so I'm going to give it a try. We'll see how it works out. It's better, or I've done them all, typically in the past with one creator at a time, but they both kind of felt that they would want to spend about a half hour to 45 minutes on screen and doing an art sale. So we'll see what happens. And then the following Monday, again, Next Comic Art. That time it'll be with Miko Swayan, and then a regular show after that. Then we've got an amateur show with Matt from Pop Sequentialism and Jordan on 3/7, and also a regular show after that. And I can tell you there's a few other things already in the works too. I've got Tim Seeley lined up in June, although we haven't narrowed a date down. And I've also spoken with Howard Chaykin about doing some kind of an ongoing, not necessarily sales show, but he really enjoyed the conversations on Saturday, enjoyed the interaction with the audience, and we're trying to work out something that might become a monthly segment of some sort. It could lead to maybe a regular sales show every 4 or 5 or 6 months or something like that. But Howard had a good time, and he enjoyed everyone's company and thoughtful commentary in the chat, and so he enjoyed it. He wants to come back, so I'm not sure. We're going to work those details out, but I look forward to having Howard on again, hopefully many times in the future. And then as far as the chat schedule goes, next week I've got a Comic Link watch party on Monday evening. That'll be for their upcoming Focused auction. And then on Tuesday, I will have Cameron Jarvis from Inky Knuckles. And we will not, well, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about him as an art rep. I would imagine we're going to see some artworks that nobody has seen before, because Cameron doesn't really share his collection on CAF. He uses CAF more to promote Inky Knuckles, but it's going to be a good time. I've never spoken with Cameron, but I'm really looking forward to it. Then on 2/15, I had the day open, and Dinesh and Zatari got in touch with me and asked if they could be on an upcoming show, and I said sure. 2/15, I've got that open, and what we're going to do, they've not been sharing a few pieces of art on CAF of late, and so we're really going to do it like kind of an art day experience. So we're going to, so maybe this will be something new. I don't know what I'll turn it into, but I'm sure we'll be talking about more than just the artwork that they're bringing that they've not shown off on social media or on CAF before. But it'll be a fun conversation, just like the first time I had them both on. Then I'll have Phil R the following week, and then Jeremy Roberts, a CAF collector, as I mentioned, but he was on the George Perez tribute video. I thought he was really well spoken, and I'm looking forward to talking with him on March 1st. And then I was in touch with Sean Gordon Murphy and his agent Jeff, and we haven't finalized the day yet, but I told him that he could be on any Tuesday nights in March, and I believe we're going to try to get that in on my guess would be the 8th or the 15th. He's got a book, another White Knight book, I believe, coming out later in the month. So we were going to talk a bit about, remember, if you were on the CAF update, I believe it was last week, we were talking about pricing and those sorts of things. And, I raised the question about how artists should view their own pricing when they see commissions that they've done selling for, 5 figures on Heritage or Comic Link. And Sean had chimed in, with a comment, positive in mentioning about their approach to pricing. And so I think it'll be a fun conversation. We're going to talk a little bit about their approach to selling Sean's art, and also we'll probably be talking about his upcoming projects and pretty much anything that you guys in the chat would like to ask him. So as soon as I have that date finalized, I assume I was emailing with them today. I'll probably know tomorrow. So as soon as I can pin that down, I'll probably create the thumbnails and the studio records for these as early as I possibly can, so that we can have plenty of time to prepare for that. Now you're right, Brett, you say no Albert Moy. I should have made a note of that, but you saw the sales calendar was really full. Albert and I do have we're going to be doing a special sale probably on a Monday. We haven't picked the date yet, but it will be similar to the Bruce Timm sale, where it'll be a members only chat option. So, something to remind yourselves of when we do it, but it's not going to be for Bruce Timm art, something a little bit different. And I think everybody's going to enjoy it. I haven't seen any of the artwork, but I know the creator that we're going to be doing this with. So things got delayed at the end of the year, and even in January, Albert was a little bit busy. And then there was some programming he wanted me to add to his admin. And we finally wrapped that up last week. So now we're really at a point where we can say, all right, we're ready to do this, and we're going to give it a try, because it's tough for Albert as a rep to track all. He had a hard time with the Bruce Timm sale, just not hard, but it was just difficult because he's used to getting want lists and invoicing through his system there, rather than having this new method of having people send him emails. So he needed basically a kind of an overhaul to his want list setup, and really an invoice system built into his admin. So we took care of that, and I hope to get the show with Albert on certainly within the next, say 4 to 6 weeks, if not sooner. But I was hoping to talk to Albert tomorrow and square that away. So I'm glad you did remind me of that. And so there you have it. So very, very full schedule all the way into March at this point. So no letting up here, and that's good. That means I'll be here on camera, and I won't have a lot of time off, and I prefer it that way. So, and we're not planning on the full move down to Florida for Maureen, myself, and the kids. That's probably going to happen more likely in April or May. Maureen would say it's probably more like June or July, because she feels there's just so much to do around here. But I'm hopeful that we'll be able to find the free time to pack and get ourselves down there. So we'll see. But a couple other news points there that I wanted to mention. I got an email earlier today. And this is, of course, it's outside of the United States. This was from Max Fargo. Actually, it sent me this, and they're doing an art get together in Rome, and it's I don't know if the 9th Art Association is a thing other than this first one. It's the first edition, and but the ninth art, of course, is bande dessinée, and it's the basically if you had to like take what is it from architecture to television are the 1 through 8 arts. Comics are the ninth art, and so that's where that term comes from. If you've seen it before, but they're having a big get together in Rome. And it's in at the end of the day, it sounds like fun. They're basically want to, it's a collector get together. They're renting a meeting room at this hotel in where was the name? But it's on the news item in CAF. But at the end of the day, they're just going to be it's going to be a fun get together where everybody has to bring some artwork. That's number one, and they're just going to sit around and talk art, talk the future of the hobby, and enjoy their time together. And so I think that's great. We've been talking more and more about having get-togethers, and clearly they're doing a whole weekend, February 19th and the 20th. So that's just a few short weeks away. But I thought it was a great idea, and I do think it's something that we're going to, I'm going to definitely participate in. I've said that about my place in Florida. After the show on Tuesday, Nick and James and Michaela and I hung out, and we talked about the possibilities of doing something really special for CAF's 20th anniversary and the best of for next year. So I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things that we're going to be talking about and hopefully planning for, whether it's later this year or in the years to come. But I'd like to be a part of at least organizing some of these kinds of art gatherings. And Orlando's a good place to go for a vacation. Just keep that in mind. I'm really close to there now. So outside of that, the other important shows that are coming up, of course, is Bashara's SF Comic Art Show, and that's on February 27th. And as we mentioned last week, somebody pointed out that he does have Mike Mignola, Art Adams, and Joyce Chin as guests. And I think he's got the usual dealers that show up at LA. Besides himself, there's Steve Morger, Glenn, Saul, Will, Rich and Don and Steve will be there. The Jack Kirby Museum with Tom Kraft will be there, of course. Josh Gray Comic Art and James Pasco. I think those are all kind of the regulars for that show. But Bashara puts on a good show, and that will be on Sunday, February 27th. And then the other reminder, of course, is that Comic Art Live will return on May 14th and 15th, 1 week ahead of the normal schedule that we've done the last 2 Mays. But MegaCon is the following weekend, and that's the weekend, of course, right before Memorial Weekend. So I just felt that it was probably best to make a permanent move to this week, because also in November we've always done it around the 14th and 15th as well. So it's pretty much staggers us perfectly, 26 weeks apart. So that's the plan. So plan ahead for that. Obviously, it's a great opportunity to buy art and sell art if you're interested in setting up an exhibitor booth. We've already done 4 of these shows. This will be our 5th. I guess somewhere in the logo for the show, I've got to start saying how often we've done this. I mean, I'm always impressed when I read about a con and it's their 25th con, and they're an annual show. Well, we're gonna start. I gotta get the number of the shows into the logo in some way. Let's see. So that's I'm just reading through the chat again. But yes, Mignola and Art Adams. I haven't seen Art Adams in a long time. I don't know why he's not been in any of the shows that I've gone to in the last couple of years before COVID. So, and Alberto says he'll be at the San Francisco one. So, John, no problem, man. It's at the end of the day, I love doing it, and I appreciate the fact that so many people turn out to talk with me about original art and the hobby in general, and our love for collecting. So, let's see a couple other notes. The Gallery Martel, who they actually approached me yesterday. They're going to start doing some ads on the site. I turned them on today, and they've got an exhibit that's opening tomorrow. They've actually got 3 months worth of exhibits that are pretty interesting. In March in particular is a month-long exhibit featuring Chris Ware's art. So they wanted to do a little extra PR and whatnot. I mean, they are overseas, of course, but you can, they do have purchase opportunities and everything through the gallery. So that's something to look forward to. If you're a fan of Chris Ware's work, I know that this is going to be a pretty big show. They've done a few of Chris's shows in the past, and they always get a really nice turnout for that. And Ryan might be at San Francisco too. I'm not going to be at San Francisco now that I'm going to be in Florida on the East Coast all the time. Wasn't there a comic art show con here on the East Coast? Yeah, in New Jersey, Comic Art Con. So that is, when do they do that? I know that one of them's in the fall, mid-October, and then I would imagine the other one, I should pull it up. It's Joe Vettieri's show. If you just go ahead. Let me see. I'll just check real quick. Let's see if he's got any dates posted. Well, you think you would type Comic Art Con and you would get their show, but you don't get anything. I guess I have to type Joe's name in there too. Let's do Vedieri. Well, nope. His CAF gallery comes up when I type that. So, all right. Well, there it goes. It actually says that last year they were on the 12th of September. I mean, so what? That should put them sometime in March. I mean, I can tell you that Joe doesn't usually do a lot of advanced PR for that show. I mean, he probably does with the dealers as he's trying to work up who's going to be in the exhibitor room for the Comic Art Con. So my guess would be if he's doing it in September, the other show probably is March. And I actually think that's right now that I think of it, because remember when COVID started, remember there was a lot of people gave Joe grief because he was trying to first do that show in March, and everybody was like, COVID's here, you got to stop it, and he finally had to cancel. So I think March is probably the time frame for the next Comic Art Con. So let's see. Oh, Saturday, April 23rd. That's the next show. All right, Tim is in the green room, so Tim is let me know that. So April 23rd is the next Comic Art Con. There you have it. All right. So let's see what else we got. After that, I think, you know what I'm going to do right now? Because last week I totally screwed up. We gave an award to Nick Perucci on Tuesday, but last week I was so wrapped up in all the things that I was talking about that I forgot to show the, I don't know about that, John. I forgot to show, I do need a haircut though, but I forgot to show the EXP video teaser for his show on Friday, and I felt like a dummy because I had to ask for it, or he sends it, but that week I had to ask for it. I got it in there, and then I forgot to do it. So I'm going to show the EXP trailer for Nick right now. And as you know, Nick has his arts show every Friday at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So it's not a 2-hour show like we do with most of the shows that I host. It's a 1-hour show. Nick gets through usually about 15 to 18 pieces of art, and usually, has some good sales. So it's always a good time to watch Nick on the channel that is his own. So let me find it here. And here we go. Here's the teaser for tomorrow's 7 p.m. show on the EXP with Nick.
Hey, everybody. We're in the new place, new look, new everything. But what will be the same is this Friday. And I think it's February 4th. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. At 7 p.m. Eastern Time, on The Experience, we will have some really great original art. We always do, and we're going to have more. We are going to have artwork with the Fantastic Four. Check out how beautiful that is. We will have Panther cover, Vampirella Unholy cover. Check out, she's got Dracula right where she wants him. We've got a little bit more Ron Garney, this time on the Weapon X, but we're not going to stop there because I brought some Ron Garney on the Hulk because everybody loves it. It's about time we brought in my favorite hero, the Flash from Flashpoint, and one of the best artists in the industry, Brian Hitch. We have a little bit more Captain Britain by Leonard Kirk. Look at this. We got even more Ron Garney. I'm just having fun with Ron Garney. We are going to have Scott Eaton and Scott Hanna, Futures End, and we are going to have some of our commission cover art. I got it right. I'm pretty sure I did not get a dirty look from Amy, so I must have gotten it right. So, and as always, some of the art is going to be under $200, some of it under $100. We really, really want to grow the community and want to bring artwork that's affordable for new collectors to join us, and of course some marquee art as well. So this Friday, February 4th at 7 p.m. only on the Original Art Experience. And if you would not mind, please hit that thumbs up. It would be appreciated, and share the video. Sharing is caring. See you Friday at 7.
Sharing is caring. That is Nick's go-to, and I saw the comment just a minute ago from Marcus. Let me move this a couple windows around here, where Marcus had mentioned that the deals that where is it? Oh yeah, the discounts. There it is. Nick discounts are deeper than the recap on Dueling Dealers, and that is very true. Nick always has great prices on the artwork he brings. I mean, he typically is bringing more modern artwork stuff in the last 15 years, but Nick puts great prices on everything. And then when he does, and most of them he brings in, let's say it'll be a piece that he feels is $3.99, and he's bringing it into the show for $2 or $175 or or $225. He's pretty much spot on his prices too of what the market would be if you saw that on a rep site or a dealer site. And then the discount price that he has is almost always a really good price. And so I completely agree with Marcus on that one. Nick does a fantastic job with the show, and he really does give great deals. So if if you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. He deserves many more viewers than he's getting right now. He usually has a good turnout, but he could double that and he'd be doing even better. And so I would encourage everybody to tune into his show. I've told him that I'm going to try to do his show once a month. And I know that the last time I was on there, we got to break a like record, or I think that during that show. So that made him really happy. And all the times that he has pushed likes on our channel, he definitely deserves me to do that for him as well. So probably in a week or two, I'll probably be back on his show as well. So again, I'm really appreciate everything that Nick does for the hobby, and he deserves he deserves the hammer. I wish I had it here right now. I gave it to my girls because I told them that I kind of explained to them how I wanted them to do the paint work on the hammer, and so I told them they got to be done this weekend so I can get those in the mail on Monday. So he doesn't use masks, though. You've got that right, Marcus. Well, you're right. Not everybody can be a show that's as entertaining as Dueling Dealers. And one day, one day there will actually be a Bill Lash, I'm sure, appearance. We'll work something out. Mike keeps threatening to buy a mask of some sort. So we'll see when that happens. But hopefully it doesn't happen anytime too soon. So let's see what else we got going on here. I think honestly that's probably about it. It's amazing. Time flies when we're chatting and talking about art. But what I want to do now is I'm going to switch gears and we're going to just go over to the CAF update. And of course, I've got a guest on with their picks, Tim Guerrero, tonight. So I'll bring him on as soon as I complete the first couple bits, which of course revolve around sales and sales data, the stuff that Colin and I put together every single week. So this is for the period that was January 24th through the 30th, and another good week. If everybody remembers, it was a very solid week last week. I believe mid 700s for sales between auction houses, eBay, and Heritage, along with the dealer sales that we track. And this week was, I've never seen anything like it. It's pretty uncanny. Literally, for dealers, it was $401,000 in sales that we tracked. Last week, it was $396,000. And with the auction houses, $337,000 this week compared to $335,000 last week. So that's really, really weird. I know anybody who's watched this show regularly knows that the numbers never stay that close. So I don't know what's up, what's in the water, but something's going on. But two incredible weeks back to back for both dealers and auction houses. And as far as the dealers, we'll talk about them first. As I mentioned, $401,000 in sales. Bermuda Man, number one this week, 56 sales, $160,000 total in asking price totals for their sales. Felix was next, 39 sales, just over 70. Anthony with 82 sales, always selling the most, like always. He's got the best low-priced art that's out on the market. So he had 82 sales, $55,000 in sales. Glenn had 5 sales, just under 50 at 49. Plus, Albert had 9 sales, $32,000. Splash Page, whoa, I didn't realize that. Splash Page had 75 sales. It must have been that Sean Phillips sale that he had going on, right? So he had 75 sales for just under $17,000. I hope if anybody bought any art from Mark last week, when I reminded everybody about the buy 2 get 1 free, that you told him that I sent him. I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, but I hope he got a few sales that night before it ended at 1 a.m. the next day. And then all the other sellers that I tracked finished just under the $10,000 mark. So we don't need to mention those ones here. But let's go ahead and take a look at the top 6 sales from dealers last week. So as I mentioned, $401,274 in sales. First up is this incredible Action Comics 350 cover. It's large art, of course, from 1966. Kurt Swan, George Klein. Asking price on this one was $57,000 from Armida Man. And we've got another cover. This one was sold by Albert Moy. Asking price $25,000 by Jim Aparo from The Brave and the Bold, issue 199. And man, that is gorgeous. So up next is it was actually a complete issue. I think it was a 9-page issue and the cover. Thank You, Liger by Daniel Warren Johnson, sold by Felix Comic Art for $15,000. And next up, another one by Felix. This was the cover to Ghost Rider issue 1. And I mean, amazing detail on this one by Ryan Stegman. This one sold for $15,000 as well. Congratulations to whoever added that to their collection. Panel page art, Glenn sold this one. It's the cover to Amazing Spider-Man 510 by Mike Diodato. And man, he does a good Spider-Man. And finally, this one is by Kerry Gamble. Again, sold by Glenn. Panel page art, $13,000. Asking price on this one. Cover to Marvel Fanfare, $31,000. Covers are not cheap these days, right? At the end of the day, I mean, there's bargains out there, but if there's anything, if it's from what we can say 98 and earlier, they're getting more expensive every single day. And of course, with the dealer art, I always say it's an asking price because I do not know whether or not that the price was maybe they haggled a bit, maybe they added in some trade. You never know. I just know what the price was before it was marked for sale with the dealers that we do track. And I completely agree, Dino, that Stegman piece was phenomenal. I mean, amazing. I'd love to see that one in person. So just crazy good. All right. So next up, we have the auction houses. And of course, we only track eBay and Heritage. One day, maybe we'll get to try, I do get some Catawiki data, but it's really not that, it's not as good enough to really report on. One day, Josh will let me show some Comic Link data. I'm sure if I keep nagging him. Usually, like I say, I email him once a year and I never get a reply. So I try, everybody. I know it's the number one sales data that you would love for me to get from an auction house. So I will always send out that annual email to Josh. And one day maybe he will acquiesce and allow me to give it a go. So, all right, let's do the auction houses. It'll be eBay first. This will be a fun one because the top 3 sales on this one were all make offer accepted. And I was like, darn it, I'm going to go to that site that I keep getting told about and see what the actual prices were. So I'm going to tell you what the actual prices are, even though I'm showing you on the screen the incorrect price, the price that it was before the make offer happened. But so we can even so our numbers are always a little skewed because of those make offers. But the total sales for auction houses during this period was $337,000. $337 and $681. So a decent week. But let me see here. Let me queue up the auction. Here we go. So first 3 from eBay. They are first is this the Yojimbo piece by Stan Sakai. The price on this one, as given to me, is $6,000, but the make offer price $4,500. So it sold for $1,500 less than the asking price. Next up is this Gene Cole and Dan Adkins Strange Tales 169 page. Asking price was $5,998. It sold for $4,000. And finally from eBay, this Moon Knight number 5, page 5 by Declan Shalvey. And its asking price was $5,500. Sale price, $4,000. So 20% discounts can be had on eBay if you try. Finally, the 3 from Heritage. First up is this Tim Sale Spider-Man Blue number 2 page. Stunning, $5,520 on that one from Heritage's weekly auction last Wednesday. Next up is this John Buscema Joe Sinnott FF 121 page. It sold for $4,320. Who wouldn't want a piece by John Byrne for FF from that period of his run? I'd love that. And this one I'm going to mess up. Haruhiko Mikimoto, Mylene Flare Genius from Macro 7, sold for $3,840. And I don't know why that black is lingering. I must have been in a rush today to put those together. Actually, my son put those together. I'm going to have to have a talk with him. So there you have it. Very solid week. 2 very solid weeks in a row by eBay and Heritage, even with the make offers that went in there. So there you have it. Those are the sales. And, hopefully the thing is, I expect it to continue. I think we're going to, as much as I think eBay should be becoming a little bit less relevant as we kind of move forward, they still seem to attract a lot of sellers. But again, opportunities are there. If something's got a buy it now price and they're willing to take an offer, throw a 20%, 25%, 30%, offer, less than their asking price, and you stand a chance of picking it up, because, everybody's fishing at the end of the day, especially if they're listing their art on eBay at fixed prices. I mean, isn't it? I think they had like relisting fees on fixed price stuff is next to nothing. So auctions are the ones that cost most money. So people are out there fishing a lot. We know that, and never underestimate the value of a fair offer to somebody on eBay. And I'm sorry, I have not been watching the chat at all. Yeah, David, maybe Glenn will make an appearance someday. We had that falling out. You probably don't. I don't know if you were heavy in the chat back then. We had a little falling out about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, and someday he may return. You never know. You just never know. But I'm not, John. I am not auctioning off a date at all. Not no. Hey, we'll do meet and greets, and I won't charge for any of those things. But not. All right. I saw that, Caesar. All right. So, hey, we're going to move on to the popular art. And I'm going to bring my guest onto the stream tonight, Tim Guerrero. I see he's in the green room, and he is fired up and ready to go. Hey,
hi, Bill. How
are you doing tonight?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. Hey, remember a few weeks ago we said the first Thursday of every month on the CAF update, we're going to bring in a guest to pick 10 pieces rather than having Scott always having to do all the legwork for that. So Tim, you volunteered first. I appreciate that. And we talked we texted ahead of the show on who would go first, and I'm going to go first. So I'm going to break the ice tonight, and I'm going to do my 10 picks, and then we'll do your 10 picks. And see there, Chris is yelling, it's Tim time. El Salvador, says Ruben. Yes, exactly. Yes. So what are you going to do? All right. Well, I'm gonna load up my artworks here, and I've got way too many tabs open at the moment, so bear with me while I get a few screens moved around here. I actually went a little traditional again on my picks. So my first pick here was Tim Sale, the trade paperback cover to Long Halloween Batman, of course, and this is in Sideshow Bob's collection. Sideshow Bob has one heck of a collection on CAF. And I would encourage everyone to spend at least a half hour this evening browsing through his CAF gallery, because you'll be pleased to do it. I mean, everything about I just let Tim Sale's obviously he's a master at his craft, his style. I always love the poison ivy approach that he does to things. I mean, he's just and again, I'm not even a DC guy, but I just love Tim's work on Batman. I think as a cover, this is just really beautiful. Yeah, and with Two-Face and everything about it. So again, just I love the use of the negative space in here. I love you get the dark Gotham there and the light Gotham there. I mean, it's just got everything on it. And sometimes a busy cover can look overwhelming, but at the end, when I look at this one, it's not. I always love the heavy blacks that Tim applies. So again, just a fantastic cover. Do you agree, Tim?
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece. I also saw it, but I said I'm going to skip it. It's too traditional. I was even doubting a couple that I chose.
Hey, when you do your 10 picks on this show, there's never a bad pick. There's never, not at all. And you did pick several that I would have picked. So I had to steer clear of several. I probably would have picked about 3 of the ones that you picked as well, because I'd seen a lot of them early in the week, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna pick that one. And then I got your list, and I was like, well, can't take that one. Nope, can't take that one.
I bet it's the New Mutants cover.
Yeah, exactly. I liked the 2 pieces by that artist, and you picked them both. So I was like, oh, cool. This is gonna be the first time I ever picked 2 pieces from the same artist, and then you did it too. So, anyways,
afterwards I realized, oh, I picked 2 pieces from Bill.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. All right. So I got my like on this one. So we'll move over to my second piece here. So this is in JD's collection. I got to put a like on this already, but this is a DPS pinup from Marvel Fanfare 1. John Byrne, Terry Austin, of course. Everybody knows that, I love John's work, especially from this period, especially if Terry Austin is inking it. And has anybody said thigh gap in the chat yet? No, I get to be the first. So there you go. That's probably the biggest thigh gap on our 10 picks for each of us tonight. But you get the Silver Surfer, you get Manhattan, you get Spider-Man. I mean, this is for me, this is just a beautiful piece, very memorable. And see, Mikhail, you didn't see that one. See, that's what's great about doing these thigh embrace. Yes, you got that right. I mean, that's what's great about. We talked about the best stuff being cool because we get to bring artwork back that you might not have seen at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and it's great for that. Well, then these choices that we do here are also good because there's always going to be art that you miss, and this one's fun. It's comical. I mean, I love Spidey's got his webbing is being is hooked up to the server's surfboard, and he's getting pulled around. I mean, it's just great. Everything about it's fun. And Marvel Fanfare 1 was a great book. And again, this is just a classic example of Byrne and Austin, as far as I'm concerned.
I actually missed this one. I didn't see it.
Well,
yeah.
There you go.
I'd love to see it in person. Those things must be truly wonderful.
I agree. I got so many. I was doing a lot of saving earlier. All right, but yes, classic image. So great to see that one. And here we got one from Ruben. Ruben, I know you're in the audience, so I had to pick this piece. I mean, the Zek Cap Wolverine homage was just too great. Not to kind of show off. I just, again, this was just so cool. Mike's doing such great work out there, but this is from Iron Fist 77, and Ruben, you do some of the best updates on CAF regularly. I appreciate it, and this is just a fantastic page. So what's not to love about it, right? You get the square off of both combatants at the top here, in a nice format, and then then that whole splash page just wraps around it, and then you get that classic battle positioning of both characters. So I mean, wow, I'd love to have this piece in my collection. And so congratulations to you, Ruben, on having it.
Ruben says Mike sells Mike's art, right?
Yes, he does.
I didn't know he kept it too.
well, he buys them too. No, Ruben, absolutely not. I mean, I genuinely love this page. I've actually, I've been really thinking a lot about adding a piece of Mike's art to my collection. I mean, I will one day. But just with all the current stuff he's doing, I mean, I've always been a fan anyway. But he's just been really, he's been blowing my mind lately. And no, I saw this and I loved everything about it. And and you're not always in the chat, so I didn't know you were going to be here. But I'm glad you are, so you can see that I picked this piece because I really enjoyed it. So congratulations. And yep, as Chris said, great, awesome page. So and Perkins does have a very, very distinct style. But yep. No, this was your collection is pretty amazing. I love this one though. So congrats.
He does his own inks, right?
Yes, he does. Yep. So Mike Perkins all.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep, I agree. All right. So this next one is in Yo Curry's, right? Yo Curry's collection, correct. And it's by Frank Miller. And we all love Frank, but this is from Ronin. And I always love this series. I think, I actually didn't buy them when they came out. I got it in a trade right after it came out. But the series is just awesome. I love this period of Miller's art. And, I don't know if I'd still probably prefer a Daredevil page if I had my choice. But my second runner-up book on a piece of Miller artwork and story would be from Ronin. Just, only because the artwork was just phenomenal. And the style of the way Miller inked, with the way he separates everything like that. I mean, the way his, the brushstrokes, the weight, I mean, everything about it. This was just a period of his work that I just really, really enjoy. I mean, I love his Sin City work too, but it's different. I really enjoyed this period of his work. So,
I've never read Ronin. Is it?
Oh no, it's great. No. Very, very good story.
I need to get it. Yeah.
One to add. I got my like on that one. All right. What do we got next here? Oh, okay. This was in all right. Oh, Zadok's collection, right? Zadok, Zadok's a big EC collector. but he really does love historic period pieces as well. I mean, I would say he not only has a great eye towards EC art, but illustration art. He's hosted some gatherings during New York Comic Con. At least he used to. But again, he's just got a really eclectic collection and an amazing one. If you've never been in Zadek's CAF gallery, you have to give it a look. But I mean, this piece here. Let's see, what does he write? Okay, he just said it was, of course, by Geisel. It was from 1943. It's rather small, 4x3.5. And as you can see here, it's a published piece, and it's She Drinks Blood. So you got the mosquito with a glass of blood. I mean, just amazing. So I had to pick it. You don't get to see pieces like this too often on CAF, and I felt it was super deserved of a few moments on the show this evening.
It was a cover. I didn't see the published image.
I think that image was, well, here I can click over here. I think it was an interior page. Did he mention what book it was? This is Anne 1943, page 4.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what Anne, if that's short for something, but either way.
I was wondering about that stamp.
Oh, right.
Because I also had picked this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is this one of your extra ones?
Maybe. Yeah. Let me see if but it was. I had like.
It was in your list.
Pieces. Yeah. Once I dwindled down from.
All right. I always forget the Illustration House. You're right, Ruben. Zadek worked at Illustration House. Yep, absolutely. And that's where I think the New York Comic Con get-togethers were at the Illustration House as well. I mean, I think I only went to one of those, but it was a pretty cool place. And that was probably one of my first. Well, after the Berkey fiasco that I had, it was probably one of the first art get-togethers that I had ever attended, and it was at the Illustration House, probably in 2005. So Zadek's a really great guy. He loves if you run into him in New York, he's always got his portfolio with him, and if he knows you, he really enjoys showing off whatever he's brought with him to the show. And there's always just one or two gems in there. I mean, like I said, the last time I saw him, he had a couple EC covers in his portfolio that he was kind of showing off. So great guy and great collection.
Are those twice up pages? Those easy covers?
The ones that he had?
Yeah.
I don't recall. I mean, I would imagine. And there's Ruben's giving out a fun fact about Zadek. He's also a former Olympic fencer. He kind of has that look, right? So, well, there you go. And Ted, you're right. We all love Dr. Seuss, but it's very hard to find an authentic piece, and that is true. Never buy a Dr. Seuss on eBay, ever. So, but we all know that if Zadek has one, I mean, it's guaranteed. So, but yeah, that is the problem with Seuss, fakes out there. It's super unfortunate, and a lot of those, especially don't buy them if the seller is overseas, because if they're in the Ukraine, I wager that it's not legit. So, I've done my best with eBay to try to remove those fraudulent artists that are out there. To no luck. Even as many ties as I have with eBay, I could never get any sellers kicked off the platform. Oh, hey Nick. Nick has popped into the chat. We were talking very nice about you earlier, Nick. I showed your EXP video off because I didn't want to forget it this time around. So I took care of it about 10 minutes ago. Now, Trevor Von Eden piece. This was on Dueling Dealers. This is in Daryl's Bat Cave. Give it a like here. I mean, as far as I just love the perspective on this piece when I saw it. I mean, I love the fact that Batman is lit up like he is from the light from below, and just the dark shadows on the window skylights, I guess. But at the end of the day, just great. The thieves don't know what they're about, what kind of trouble they're going to get into any second now. Batman's going to do some serious damage to the skylight when he drops down on him. But either way, Trevor Von Eden, I can honestly say he's not an artist that I've followed too much. But this piece here, I really love it. And it was just a commission piece. Yep, exactly. So this was a commission by Trevor, but just an absolutely gorgeous piece. And again, nicely framed. Everything draws your eyes to Batman and the action in the center. So with the cape.
exactly. The cape is like embracing the
Right.
window view, right?
Yeah, and that's something that, I mean, it looks so gimmicky that it shouldn't work. Like, who would do that? I mean, that's something I would do when I was 13, trying to be clever when I was drawing a picture of Batman. But Trevor does it here, as an established pro at this point, and really, really makes this work. I mean, I really just I love it. And so it just makes me, like I said, I can't say that I'm really super familiar with a lot of his work, but it makes me want to go and check out all the artworks that he's got on CAF that have been posted into collections. So great addition to Daryl's Batcave. And see, I'm sticking with the DC stuff here, everybody. I don't know what got into me this week, but this one had a good story on it as well, because I was browsing through it and I see a cover and I tend to want to take a look at it, and as a thumbnail the image was really captivating already, made me want to take a look at it. But with this one, I was a little taken aback. I'm like, how, okay, he's got Irv Novick listed on here twice and Carmen Infantino listed twice. So I've got to figure out what's going on with this cover. Now, I mean, by and large, I mean, it's the sense of depth in the cover is just fantastic. The fence line draws you all the way down. The characters in there, the different sizes of them, just throw your eye all around and really helps accentuate the depth in the piece. The building in the back literally looks like it's tipping backwards. It's just the whole perspective on this thing is just super crazy. And then when you look at it more, and it's all these blind guys with canes whooping on Batman, and a black cat. So I mean, he's having a bad day, right? Walking across his path, all these things. But still, I was like, what's the deal with Novick and Infantino? So I had scrolled down, and again, this is in David Bixler's collection. Hey, David, he's in one of the chat groups I'm in. But reading through this, it said that an interesting trivia piece about this cover is that DC art director at the time, Carmen Infantino, a Batman art legend in his own right, was not happy with the way Batman looked in the original cover. And as a result, he redrew Batman and patched the cover with an original art paste up. I have no idea what the original looked like since it's permanently underneath the paste up. He said maybe there's a prelim floating around. So there you go. Art director comes in. I'm sure even over at Marvel, I'm sure Romita Sr. had a few moments where we all know he redrew faces. Well, Infantino said, I'm redrawing the entire figure of Batman. And I know if we zoom in on this a little bit, you can see it better there. The whole image, the whole character is a paste up, and added in a little bit of details to kind of tie it together to the background and everything. But in general, just a really beautiful cover, and I love the perspective more than anything on it. I thought that it was really, really well done.
I can barely notice it. It's a paste up, just a shadow of Batman in the fence.
Right. Well, I think they just did such a darn good job. Like you can see the paste up line is
there.
You can see it. But yeah, I mean, they did a really good job kind of blending it into the cover, and whatever they adhered it with was pretty solid, clearly. So it makes you wonder what it couldn't have been too different. It's the same pose. Why didn't he just need to redraw the head? But you never know. At any rate, I thought I love stories like that about original art, and the fact that that those anecdotal things live on with the pieces that we get to own, because it's part of the process, and it's really a part of history. And it's the thing that, again, it goes back to the people who only collect comic books. They don't get to appreciate all the effort that went into making this cover, and we do, and I think that's great. And I'm glad that David thought to include all of that extra information with the piece, because it's it should definitely live with the piece forever.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what type of glue they used for that paste up, because I got a Paul Ryan Fantastic Four that's from the 90s, mm-hmm. and they already came off. I had to glue them back again with a Elmer glue that Felix recommended. That's acid free.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Southern Comic Geek wants to know if these are for sale. No, we're just talking about our 10. Both Tim and I are talking about our 10 favorite pieces of art that were added to Comic Art Fans last week. This is a part of our CAF update that we do every week. Each of us pick 10 pieces of art from the site, and we talk about why we love them and the great stories about them. And that's what this show is all about. If you're looking for art for sale, we do Dueling Dealers every Wednesday night at 9. And Nick Perucci does a show at 7 p.m. on the EXP every Friday at 7. So there's plenty of opportunity for buying art online. And also 4C Comics, Ken Carson usually has 2 or 3 shows a week too. All of those are great places to pick up art in live stream formats.
Yeah.
So can't
And
forget
those
that
4C Comics videos they're doing the sketches live. I saw the Dog Mankey one.
Yeah, they do a lot of those live. Yeah, and they do some shows that don't have creators on them too. But I think that Ken is kind of getting into more of an art. I wouldn't say he's an artist rep role, but he's definitely facilitating sales for artists, which is pretty cool. I guess I've been doing that too, but I don't really see what we do as that. But I think Ken has done a great job. It's kind of as his show has evolved, and I'm really curious to see how his business model pans out and changes and evolves over the next year. When I've mentioned to everybody that I'll be doing a panel at MegaCon for certain. I still have to give Kevin Boyd the outline for that, but I did ask Ken, who lives right near Orlando, if he would join me on that panel. So that'll be cool. Ken and I will get to do a panel at this year's MegaCon. So there you have that. 4C puts some. Yeah, they do. I completely agree, Murdoch. Both Jeffrey and Ken are great hosts. So let's see. I've got 3 more pieces here from my set, and let me get the light on here first. So this is in Rick W.'s collection, and this is by Butch Geis from Heavy Metal 302, a Tarna page. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to get something from heavy metal, something with Tarna in it would be ideal. When you get something by Butch Geis as well, I'm just blown away by this page. All the detail that isn't, it's not like we're looking at the Burn Austin piece earlier, right? Where everything's like fine and everything needs to be perfect. Every brick needs to be drawn. Butch's approach to this page is it's weird when I'm looking at it. I'm not going to use any reference, but it's almost like there's photo references in here because it's almost like you're looking at this with your own eyes, right? nothing's crisp. Everything's kind of modeled, but everything ties together, and what everything is from the bazaar that she's walking through, the crates, the guards, all those things. But it's drawn in such a beautiful way without really a focus on what we would consider, that's a traditional approach to drawing comic books. So and I guess heavy metal as a platform for creators gives them a lot more freedom, right, in their approach to how they would approach writing a graphic story. And again, Butch did a fantastic job with this one, and I love this page. And I don't own anything from heavy metal, but this page or any probably page from this story, I think now that I've seen this one, I would like to have. So
the inks are really nice too. I almost chose this one, but I thought that maybe the piece wasn't high resolution, so I ended up not picking it.
Well,
but
I'm glad you didn't. Gave me the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I completely agree, Mel. He's great, and he's been at it for years. It's similar to Perkins, and Ruben agrees. Yeah, that's true. Now that I'm looking at it, now that you say that.
Similar.
I see the same thing there. Yeah.
I think they've inked each other's work, if I'm not mistaken.
No, well, Ruben will confirm or deny.
I think Ruben could confirm it. Yeah.
All right. Oh, and hey, I saw Rick was thanking me. You're absolutely, positively more than welcome, Rick. I love showing off good art. So there's that one, and I did heart this one already. So let's move on. And another, I was trying to find pieces that are out of the Marvel DC realm a bit. So I like on here. This is posted by Jonathan Wilson. Of course, this is John Bolton, 1 million years BC, from the House of Hammer from 1978. Again, a very different approach. You'd see a little bit more refined approach to the pen and ink and everything, and as far as the approach to the drawing and everything. But I love the loose style of it. It's not the same as Butch's page earlier, but you look at these panels; they're just beautiful. We talked about Wrightson a few weeks ago, where you want to where the panels are filled with ink, and there's no space left for doing anything else. And it's so well done. It's like, I want to see more. This panel in particular was really, really amazing, but all of them were just the way again, just filling up every single panel with as much ink it's almost like, doing it negative, right? I mean, we would expect somebody in here to be using some whiteout to bring about effects like these, but they're just done so well. And again, Bolton's master, and so I love this. Look at the inking on that character, beautiful.
I've been trying to get a John Bolton piece, but from Classic X-Men, but I haven't been lucky landing one yet.
No, I wouldn't mind getting something from Classic X-Men as well. But again, this is just a beautiful, beautiful page. And let's see, that's any different. The full so it's on a huge board. Wow, very, very nice. And look, Marcus, first commenter, elegantly illustrated. It gives the cavemen their raw and natural look, where they have a feast of the wild boar. Hear, hear. Well said. And thank you, Jonathan Wilson, for sharing that one on CAF. All right, so I've got one more piece here, and then we'll turn things over to Tim. This actually is in Anker's collection. This is by Aaron Conley, Secret Wars Battle World Wolverine DPS. Get my like on there before I forget. I mean, this thing is massive. Thank you, Anker, for posting such a gigantic scan of it as well. I mean, this I was just laughing and smirking and smiling the whole time I looked at this. This is just so darn awesome. Anker has, he's been picking up some really amazing art in the last 18 months. I mean, his collection's always been great, but I mean, the things that he's been adding to his CAF and showing off on Facebook, I mean, he's really had a banner 18 months, and this is a great piece. Everybody knows I'm an X fan to begin with, but man, this thing is just, I could stare at this thing for hours. It's so awesome. Wolverine as Ant-Man and as Nick Fury. I mean, all this is just so fun. Spider-Man, such great stuff going on in here. It's just, you got him as Beast. I mean, again, I love it. Very, very jealous, Anker. It's great pickup. So, and I love Conley's work. So, you can't, right. There you go. Dino. See, Dueling Dealers has been doing a lot of spreading the love, hasn't it? It's, I'm impressed. I think we finally, it's like there's, I don't know, we can be counted as a seller now, right? Because we've helped put artwork out there, and Dino, all your time on the amateur shows when you hosted, you've been an integral part to the show. And it's hey, guess what? Brian Peck is in the green room, and he even texted that Perkins inked Geis on Amber, Blake, and Root. So thank you very much for that, Brian. I didn't notice that. I don't pay attention to the private chat too often, but Claim 15 Dino by Anker. Yes. So great pickup, Anker. I mean, again, this is a beautiful, beautiful piece. Man.
Rules. That's another title I'm looking to get a piece, but it's so hard to get those.
I was just gonna say, I can't say that I've really seen any pages. They don't come up that often.
No, they don't. Yeah, but they're really good. I really like that story too. I read it all.
Indeed. All right, let's see. I've got to stop this screen, and I've got to pull the other screen in here, and we'll do your 10, and then we're going to get on to the best of conversation. Let me see here. Where was got a window open here. I've got too many windows open. Let me get close that one, and there it is. There. Sorry, I literally am closing 5 screens to get this thing here. All right, here we go.
the Moon Knight by Bill. Yeah, this is awesome. And you can tell it's such a great scan of the piece. You can see how the paint is placed on so thick, I love the texture on this. I can't imagine. I wonder if it's done on a hardboard or what type of paper it's been used to soak up all that paint.
Right. Well, something heavily gessoed, that's for sure. I would imagine. We can read his
Does
description afterwards.
Yeah. What type of media is he using? Is it
Let's
oils?
see. It just says mixed media. How's that for Buell?
It's mixed media. Yeah, it doesn't say, but it's a beautiful. It hasn't been published. I think it's from the white, red, and black Moon Knight.
Black, white, and red #1
white,
cover.
and red. Yeah. It's beautiful. it's very imposing. You know how Moon Knight is soaring like above the
His
person
victim.
that's on the floor. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure they did something bad, and they deserved that.
And
But
all the blood spattered. Like
well, he was begging for
asking
his
him to
life.
stop.
You know, well, that's the beautiful part of this, right? I mean,
Yeah.
is the story in the image. You know, clearly, you know, Moon Knight. You know, he showed no mercy in this one. But I was gonna say a lot of times, that when say somebody was going to paint like this, if this was a gessoed board, the heavily textures might have been done with the gesso, ahead of time, and then he painted over it. I mean, it's hard to say, but that's one of the ways that an artist would approach that.
Like a base, like pour on a black base and then work over it, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that's possible. Definitely possible.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, and that image, it gets your mind working. What was going on, what happened, why did he beat him up? You start imagining your own story behind that image.
Mm-hmm.
Great visual.
Well, it's grisly, but you can't take your eyes off of it.
Yeah, and especially you can't see his legs. It's like he's soaring above the victim. It's just a cape going all over. Also surrounding, like the break foil piece surrounding the framing the scene, right?
Yeah, no, that's great. You're right. I mean, everything about the negative space, it's perfect. I got my like on that. Oh, and I forgot to say, it's in Michael Lovitz's collection. Michael added quite a few really nice pieces this past week. So, if you've not checked out Michael's CAF gallery recently, you definitely should. All right, so we have a Brandon Peterson piece here, and this is in Bill Bannock's collection.
This is a beautiful piece. I think Bill had published it before it was framed. I loved it then. I loved it this past week. He posted it again. I've met Brandon at Baltimore, but I've never. He did a couple of quick sketches for me, but never a commission. But this one is, oh my God, so fantastic. I had chosen. There was a George Paris. I don't know if I chose it, but this Raven, oh my God, it's absolutely stunning. And the detail, also the inking, because I think he does everything. Does he have a high res scan of the piece, or
not this one?
That's just a picture, right?
Right.
Yeah, because you can see all the inking detail. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Well, maybe he has an extra. Well, put a like on. Let me see if he has.
He should, he had published that before. Yeah, look at that detail on those things. Yeah,
Brandon's he really is a phenomenal talent. I mean, I've always enjoyed his work. He's such a nice guy. If you've ever got the chance to meet him, he's he's really super friendly and outgoing. I mean, great guy. If you ever get a chance to meet him at a con, you should, because he usually hangs out with, he's worked with Frank Cho a lot on different stuff, so they're usually together. But no, this is a great piece. I can't even say
I didn't know they worked together.
Yeah, maybe next week. I've got, because they used to do like a print, a print every year, a couple prints, and if I wasn't buying originals or something, I didn't see anything I liked, or I got to his table too late, I'd always pick something up, but from him or Frank. And I probably have at least 4 in the portfolio behind me, but maybe next week. But yeah, I love Brandon's work, and I always love getting the chance to talk with him when I see him. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, this piece has me wanting to get a commission from him. I haven't been getting commissions too much lately, but this makes me want to get one from him. Oh, this cover! Whoa.
I was going to pick this one too because it was just so funny, right? I mean,
exactly. Yeah, the humor. Yeah, the humor is especially good. Like, Mary Jane is so pissed off because Black Cat is doing her bit.
I was gonna say, I thought this one was presented at Comic Art, the Comic Art Live show. So that's why I wanted to read his description, because I remember Adam and Allison set up at the
They
last Comic Art
published,
live show.
yeah.
Yeah,
They had
yeah.
some Black Widow covers too, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
they sold a few, but I do remember this one sold there. So wow, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I laughed when I saw it. I loved it. I mean, it's you know, I assume like a lot of Adam's covers, this is probably oversized as well. So it's probably super impressive. But yeah, what a, you know, Adam's gags are the best at the end of the day. You can't go wrong if you're a publisher picking Adam to do something.
Well, you can't. Well, Frank Cho is his gags are.
All right. Well, Frank. Okay, Frank. Nobody does Frank as well as Frank because you know. No, I mean, and his wheat cakes and his sketch covers. You know. So this is, of course, what it was from Pat L's CAF Gallery. Outrage, right?
Yeah, the outrage.
Yeah. No, Frank is always trying to stir the pot, and he does a really good job of that. Yep. Oh, Pat. Hey, Pat, you're in the chat, man. Good to. I'm glad you're here from CAF. Yeah, from the CAF Live in November. Yeah, and hopefully Adam and Allison will set up again. I mean, I think they skipped one of the shows, but the shows that they've set up, that I think they've done pretty good. So, yeah, they're definitely impressive. You've got that right, Miguel. But
this has me wondering who's taller, because from this image, MJ looks a lot smaller than.
Well, she's that's possible. Yeah, but she's kind of bent over and angry, so you never know. You never know.
And her face, I don't know. It's making her look a lot older, Mary Jane, because it's just making Black Cat so much more attractive, you know.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know, again, that's why I love Adam's brand of humor, and even when he's not trying to be, you know, like you said, those Black Cat covers were pretty cool too, as I recall. So yeah, another Pat, great addition to your CAF gallery. Again, you know, Pat's got an amazing collection that you should spend some time over there. I'll make sure I get the link to our full update. You know what? I'll even paste it in here right now, since we're right in the midst of our little review here on our popular artworks. I put in the chat right now the link to the CAF update that includes the links to everything that I've talked about here and Tim's showing right now, and even the dealer and auction house artwork is all linked in that CAF update. All right, so next up, that was the Perez piece. So let me get my like on there. This is in Rob Hughes' collection. I mean, yeah, who doesn't love George and all the detail that he puts into things, right? I mean, Tim, I mean, why did you pick this piece?
I think this is all George, right? If I'm not, or is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, pencils and inks.
Pencils and inks, yeah. So it's having him doing everything is really awesome. I had this comic, but the print on those comics, I recall that it wasn't that good.
Yeah, I don't remember if I read this particular one, but I mean, just an amazing cover. It's you know, again, you get those faces and the stars. I mean, George, man, it's no wonder he had, you know, hand issues later on, right? Because I mean, man, the effort to put this kind of detail into his art on every page, you know, whether it was a cover or an interior, is just, it's just amazing.
Look at all those stars. I wonder how did he use like a technique? I've seen some artists drop liquid paper on the black ink.
You know, I'm not.
Just to do this.
I don't think I've ever seen like a demo video of George doing art. I mean, I watched him draw at cons before, but of course he's not really working like this. But again, this is just classic George, from the female characters to just the hyper detail on it. I mean, it's a phenomenal piece, Rob. So congratulations. Yeah. And this was on my list too. I would have picked this one. You know, I don't know. I've been trying. I love George's work so much that I really should refrain. But no, great pickup and piece here, Tim.
Yeah. There was a panel page too by George, but I ended up picking this one over. Yeah, because Starfire, you know, how can you not love that cover?
Right. And yeah, Jeff says it's all just dotting with a pen. So yeah, still lots of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah, because if you're like spilling liquid paper, that's easier. But if you're doing it dot by dot, how much time did it take to do that? That amount of detail is commitment. Oh, I love this one. I love the action here. Toth is so dynamic. You can feel the action happening, every panel,
I know,
has a
without panels though.
different movement.
That's the amazing thing
Yeah.
about the page here. He's telling the story of the battle, but he's doing it without needing to have a single panel drawn, other than like that, just at the bottom where he's added that ruled line. Everything else just kind of flows. I mean, this is like,
Yes,
it's so effortless, as a battle page, and they're small. They're he's kind of moving in and out from the battle, but it's just, and similarly even with the lettering, they, oh
yeah,
wow,
that
what,
helps
and
too,
all that
right?
stuff.
Yeah,
It really brings your eye around. I mean, it almost, it's almost too busy, but it's not. It works really well.
it almost is. But once you get to look at it, you can feel the action happening, especially with the lettering too, as you say.
And Chris, I do believe that it did, I think this is the second collection I've seen it in the last year. You're right, but it's a great pickup. It's in, what is it, Mark Tomlinson's? Yeah, Mark's collection. Mark has a few Alex Toth pieces as well. So this is, I mean, again, I'm just happy it's on CAF. I'm glad you picked it, Tim.
Did you notice it when you were looking?
Oh, Mark's here too. Hey, see, everybody. Hey, we're picking art, and man, we're doing pretty well that we're picking art, and the collectors are actually in the chat tonight. All right, so it's about a year and a half ago. All right, cool. But man, Mark, congratulations! I love this piece. I mean, as does Tim, of course. But there's not enough Toth interior page art. Certainly on CAF, but it's just hard to find. And great example here. You're not gonna find a better example of a Toth interior page. That's for sure. So yep, no, love it.
Definite congratulations on getting that.
From Adventure Comics 418 from 1972, 50 years old. And that's just amazing. I love it. All right, I've got my like on it, so I've done my duty on that one. Now we've got Sandman piece by Jesus Gann. Very
I don't
interesting
know
piece.
this artist.
I was just going to
really
say, I'm
liked
not
his
familiar with
rendition. Yeah, and those stars reminded me of issue 50 that had a special cover, all black cover with those type of stars, similar.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a fantastic depiction of Morpheus. I hadn't seen his art before, so I went and I clicked on his name, and there's not that many pieces. There's several, but this one is really, really beautiful. I'm also wondering what technique he used to complete the piece.
I love the subtle outlining, in the orange color of the forearms and everything. It just kind of brings them forward, because it's everything about the piece. I saw it as well. I don't know if I would have picked it to feature, but I actually looked at the detail image. Usually I'm just scanning through the artwork, but this was a piece that I looked at because I love the layout. That you're drawn into the center and then back up through there. I mean, I thought that it was just so well done. I like the detail on the face. I mean, I got nothing bad to say about it. But again, I wasn't familiar with the artist, so I'm kind of curious if I do a search here. Well, there's 20 pieces.
I think he's from Spain, I think. Well, the owner is from Spain, right?
Is that true? Let me see. I'm sorry.
He's down below?
Yeah, you're right.
He's from Spain.
Portillo.
Mm-hmm.
Portillo. See, you're helping me. I usually butcher names, but yeah, there's 20 pieces on CAF by Jesus. So no, I'll have to. I don't know much about him, but that's yeah, love this piece. Fantastic and a good pick. I mean, this is like Chris Snorick always does a good job on his picks, because he always tries to find one artist he doesn't know. I never do that because that's too much of a gamble. I wouldn't. So I'm glad you did, Tim.
There were too many pieces because I almost forgot to go through the art and pick my 10. So I did that on Tuesday when you were asking me about it. I was just finishing up. I was like, I forgot to do it during the weekend because my sister came from Germany and it was my mom's and my birthday this weekend. So we were celebrating. I didn't have time to go through it, but I'm glad I could. But oh my God, I didn't know so much art was being posted because from
Well,
7 days.
that's a lot of art when you're getting 200 pieces or so or a day. So this next piece, I didn't even read initially.
Yeah.
Oh, Eddie
The Angelini.
the Angelini. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
This is in
Well,
Philip Rutledge's collection.
I love it. I always meet Eddie when I go to LA and the conventions. He's always at the conventions. I bought one of his strips, and I picked it because it's a really fun strip. I bought one because it had like this one that Martian Manhunter. Mine has him dressed as the Green Goblin for Halloween, and it's always a bit between him and his wife. So the strip is very good. I'd recommend. He draws it. I think he does a strip a day, and then each year he collects all the strips and he sells a comic at the conventions. And he also always does commissions too. He does like chibi characters.
All right.
And I think I got at least one drawing he's made on one of my sketchbooks from him too. So
Cool.
And he owns a comic
another
book
artist
store.
I've never heard of. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he owns a comic book store. Yeah. Which I've always also been there. I met up with Royce Vizio there once.
Oh, cool.
And this one I had to pick. I sold this one to Bob. I hated parting with this piece because I received it at the beginning of December, but I decided to pony up for one of my grails at Heritage.
Well, so sometimes you have to do that.
I have to pay for it.
But you honored it by choosing it as one of your 10 tonight. So no, I love this piece too.
Oh yeah, and I picked several pages from Long Halloween, so I kept two. So, and I've never seen these before, but the paper is different. It seems like it's ready to absorb more ink. It's like has more pores in it, and it's a fantastic image. You can't go wrong with Tim Sale. I was aching badly to get some pieces from either Long Halloween, Dark Victory, or the Spider-Man.
Oh boy. Yep. It's a great page. I'm sorry you had to let it go, but I'm sure you added a few nice pieces to your collection. So
it was just one.
Okay, you added a nice piece to your collection. Well, it goes like that sometimes too.
And this one is not paying for everything. I have had to sell a lot of things to pay up, but that's what I get for bidding on signature auction pieces.
That is very true. You got to pay to play, especially in the signature auctions. So here's another cover by Bill J. We know he just won the most commented cover in 2021, and so so he's starting off this year with this great Bill Sienkiewicz masterpiece. I mean, this again, I would have picked this piece. That's why I made it the slide early on of the show. So I'm glad you did.
Look at those colors; they're wonderful. I love painted covers.
Oh my gosh,
they're the best. And this technique back then, he was so. Nobody was doing this. It was like people were weirded out at the beginning from seeing this type of artwork. What's going on.
I mean, he was doing so much experimental stuff back then. He would even, with the way he was doing the paints, sometimes he'd add in some like mixed media items and things into his art. I mean, it was just crazy. You didn't know what to think of it, but it was like him breaking free of like being considered like, maybe a Neil Adams acolyte or something like that. When he did New Mutants, I mean, and even on Moon Knight, I mean, Moon Knight there was a little bit still there, the Neil Adams influence, but when he came into New Mutants, it was just like he just changed everything, and it was hard to accept at first, but by like after the first 3 issues, I was like, I love this guy. I thought his Moon Knight work was cool, but when he started doing New Mutants, that was the thing that changed my view of Bill Sienkiewicz, because I thought he was a master when he got to this point, and I wish he would have worked on the book longer. But yeah, no, this is amazing. All the covers were beautiful, weren't they?
Yeah, and interiors, all the
Yeah,
Bear saga, how much they go for,
I do.
It's well worth it because they're so wonderful.
If I could only own, I'd take, at this point, I would take any interior page, even if the characters weren't in costume, because they're very, very expensive and hard to find, and but that's why they're coveted by collectors, because of the short run. I mean, I think we talked about it recently. He only did 16 books or so just not a lot of pages out there for us to enjoy.
And this is an early Legion appearance too, right? I think his first cameo was 25.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Yep.
First appearance of Legion cameo. Yeah, I'm looking it up here in the database. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah, I'd love to own something by Bill. I think I have a quick Daredevil sketch by him.
Oh, I thought Marcus would have been first. He's in there somewhere, I'm sure. But look, 69 comments on this thing already. So he's well on his way to setting another record. But I think the most commented piece of 2022 so far is the Jim Lee X-Men 1 4-cover set that Fish posted into his CAF like 2 weeks ago. So I think that one's got about 130 comments on it. So it's got a stranglehold on the most comments award for this year so far. But this is a great cover. I'm sure it's going to reach 100 by the end of the year. It's very deserving of it.
Yeah.
And this last piece was a pickup by Nick Barucci.
Oh, this is Nick's? I didn't notice. I picked this one because I remember reading these comics in Spanish. They sold them at the supermarket, and there was one particular thing about them that there was like a printing error where there were the cover was all the same for all the comics, but inside it was a different comic. Yeah, and I like Mick Mignola's art, but I'm not like flabbergasted by it. It's not like I'm a huge fan, but I fondly remember reading this saga and those suits. I like the art on them very much.
Yep. And another Dueling Dealers win piece too.
Oh,
and I know Nick had a good story. I think Michael Lovitz helped because Nick was busy at the time. I think was the story in the description. But yeah, so Dueling Dealers is spreading the love around the internet and in collections everywhere. No, it's a good pick. I like this page a lot when I saw it as well. So I'm glad it ended up in Nick's collection.
I need to start watching Dueling Dealers again. I'm just not doing it because I want to pay for my heritage win.
Well, you got to have your priorities, Tim. I mean, I totally get it, but hey, all these picks were great. And again, congratulations to Nick, and thank you, Tim, for doing, taking the time out. It's a lot of work, isn't it? I mean, you have to distill around 1,400 artworks to pick your 10, and it's not an easy task.
Yeah, around maybe even more pieces.
Yeah, probably.
There were a lot of pages.
Yeah, it was probably more like 1,500. We usually average about 225 to 250 pages added to CAF every day. So you're right, but it's work. It's work. Sorry, you can't be paid for it.
Oh no, yeah, but I enjoy it. I wish I could dedicate more time. When I first started using CAF, I remember that I made it a point that the email you sent, where you had the questions by a collector, I always went to that collector's gallery and went through everything. But I really don't have enough time to do that.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
I wish I could, because if I could comment as much as Mark is
well, no one can. Yeah. But listen, I thank you. And I'm sure if you want to do it again sometime, I'll get you on the schedule. I think we've got Larry doing the next CAF update, which will be the first Thursday in March, and then after that, we'll see. All right, but I appreciate it, Tim. Thank you so much. I'm glad you took the time to spend a lot of time on CAF this week, looking at the artwork from last week.
Thank you for having me, Bill. It's a pleasure.
No, pleasure's all mine. All right, thank you so much. All right, time just flies by when we're talking about art, and I really I hate to say this, but Brian had a cutout. I was in the green room, and he texted me saying, he had something else to do. So Brian has left the green room, and I owe him an apology because I was hoping we would be able to spend more time with him. And I'm going to bring Mikhail on now because Mikhail, hey, you don't forget you're muted. Don't pull a Felix on. There we go. Your hair is getting long.
It is getting long.
Somebody said that the other, and I didn't quite see it, but now I see it.
I thought, what a great idea by Larry, and what legwork to get all those tributes. I thought that was
Oh my goodness.
a great way to follow up.
I agree that, it would have been really cool to actually have that part of the presentation. I don't believe it's probably ever going to be possible to coordinate something that that in the morning and but maybe just to get a couple to play live would be pretty neat. So next year, maybe I'll try that. Because I know first thing in the morning, I know at midnight the night before. So I could probably send out emails just demanding secrecy from the collectors that won, and seeing if they couldn't record something or write something that we could show. I think so. Maybe next year, just a little extra coordination and planning, and I think we could get that done.
Or I thought it was great even the next day.
I agree. I mean, come on. I mean, Dino's was great. It was great seeing Marcus.
And Marcus was so eloquent, and really, I saw in the chat as well.
Steve as well. I mean, what a great way to it was a great way to start things off after Felix's snafu. So I thought everybody, again, everybody views their artwork a little bit differently, but we all end up recognizing the creators as being the integral part of the process that makes this hobby so enjoyable for us all. And that was why when you approached me, about 7 or 8 weeks ago about kind of modifying the best of and awards and what we might be able to do, I thought it was a very interesting idea. It was getting us to think out of Rich Cyril says dueling hairdos. All right, fine, Rich. Thanks for noticing. I thought that that you were right. I think it was time for us to kind of think of the best of and awards as something more than just talking about the artwork and trying to find a way to incorporate creators into the overall process. And the biggest challenge that we had was, like you had said, maybe we can look to who are the most popular new artists that are being collected. And and I forget what some of the other ones we talked about, price values and other things. The biggest issue we'll have with that in the future will be, I can generate reports really, or Maureen can generate reports really easily, but we usually need some data going into it. So say we went and we polled collectors prior to the end of the year, saying like, who are your top 20? Give us have every creator or collector give us your top 5. New artists that's out there that we'd like to kind of throw in here. And maybe it's even something we ask the reps about too. But if we could get a list of 20 artist names to kind of plug into the database, we could tell you which of those 20 artists had the most artworks added to CAF, which of those 20 artists had the most comments added to their artworks. So somehow we need to, if I can get a list of the creators that we want to kind of plug into the database, then we can start extracting a lot of the thoughts that you had, who's being collected the most, or getting viewed the most from artwork added in that particular year. I loved all those thoughts, but it was like writing the query. I would just be able to have to give you a gigantic list of every creator that was added into it. So we can find a way to kind of fine tune the list of creators that we want to look at. I think that that'll make it so much easier. Maureen will be like, I can run you a report for any of those. I can give you a comments total, a views total, a total number of artworks added for all those creators. So even if it was a list of 100, at the end of the day, if just having the list will help us kind of dive into that data. And I mean, she could have it in a matter of moments, really, once we know what that list is. So.
I think the data is there, and we, there are ways to parse it. And I don't know how much is possible for you guys on the back end of things, but even if we started adding, and this is kind of long-term thinking, but in the fields that people fill in when they upload a piece of artwork, even if we had the year of the artwork, and perhaps the country of origin.
Mm-hmm.
Then what one thought I had was with the country, with the year, we could break up popular artwork into like everything, and then also popular artwork from that very year, like
That very year,
who
yeah.
who uploaded artwork in 2021 that was made in 2021, and then that will also kind of give us a view of very current artists, hopefully, because I don't
That's
think
true.
I don't know. It would be curious to see, but is Burn artwork being added to the site as fast as Stegman artwork? Probably
Right.
not. You know, so that would be one way to parse it, and then the other way, if we have the country of origin, and if collectors start being more specific about where they are in terms of countries, it might well be worth awarding by region as well. Sometimes, like collecting art. If you're collecting art in Mozambique, I know my hat's off to you, because it's 50 million times harder than it is to do in the US. So maybe we do a region, right, where we have Europe, North America, African region, something like that, so that collectors from all over the world who are participating but who are kind of at a disadvantage because of various reasons, because of access to time zones and everything, maybe we can kind of we can look at our collecting brethren in Singapore, Malaysia, and that region, and give them their own kind of award for certain things.
Well, that's
and
something.
I
think we could do it.
And then the origin query also then gives us artists by region, so we can kind of break down by that as well. Artists coming in from different parts of the world. So the more data we have, the more we can kind of experiment. But yeah, I think you said it perfectly. My idea was to involve more people, to appreciate more art, and to let the creators know that we're here. And I'd love to get something in for writers as well. They're like the marrow of our bones, the absolutely essential part of everything. So if there's a way to track stories that people are resonating with, yeah, that would be something we could think about. And then I know there's some kind of basic things like DPS being its own category. That people were very into.
As Jason just pointed out, I think the earlier thinking was that it would DPSs would of course be put into the splash page title page category, but it's not listed as you should put DPS on there as well. I'm not sure why it was left off. I mean, again, Brian fine-tuned these from so many go-rounds with the Comic Art L mailing list, but clearly the DPS as a category is needed, because I took a look at, do I have it up still? But I took a look at the splash page category, and splashes and title pages, and the first DPSs don't stand a chance, right, against most title pages or really great splash pages. I don't know why, but it's true. But if you look through that page, I think the first piece is around it's like the 18th most popular, a Mike Mignola piece. And then you don't see another DPS for another 18 pieces. So DPSs really get a bit disenfranchised by.
I think maybe they also are not voted for because people feel like
maybe they're in the wrong category.
Unfairly,
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So DPSs definitely need their own category. I mean, even if we don't drop out one of the other 10 categories to replace it, 11th category for DPS makes a whole lot of sense. I can run some stats now, and again, I wish Brian was here.
I was sad to see him go as well, because I've never.
I know. It's my fault, everybody. He's got a very busy schedule, and I thought I was going to breeze through everything, and I never do. And because here we are, it's almost at the 2-hour mark. But so I had Maureen run some stats on the overall participation. So I'll just kind of go through them, and I don't have any slides. I guess that would have been better. But we had a total of 386 collectors participate in the submission process to upload the 1,675 artworks. So that's somewhere, in the neighborhood of, a little at 4. Yeah, I guess it's a little over 4 pieces per person who posted, who decided to participate. That's good. And we actually had 400 people vote. So we had more voters this time, and then we had people submit artwork. So that's a positive, because I believe in the year before if I went back and dug up the data, and I know I have it somewhere written down, we had more submitters than we had voters. So this is the first time I think we've ever had more voters than submitters, and not by a lot, but it's a move in the right direction. I think it's all about promotion and getting out there and reminding people that they need to vote on these artworks. So next up, let's see. So there were a total of 11,280 votes cast from the 400 voters. So on average, every voter cast 28 votes. We had 74 voters who cast all 50 votes. So people, which is, I'm a little surprised, but I mean, I can tell you I didn't cast 50 votes. I should have, but 74.
I didn't either.
It's a lot of work. I mean, but so 74 out of the 400 did cast 50 votes. And let's see, the highest, Maureen kind of did this in an odd way, but she's got it that people who cast 1 through 19 votes, 156 people did. So, I guess the highest number, is leaning towards that side of things. What's that? It's like 37% of the people voted for less than 20 pieces. So that might mean that they only really went to the 4 categories they were most interested in. Of the categories, the category that got the most votes was published covers with 1,600 votes in total, followed by interior pages at 1,300, which is almost tied with splash pages at 1,300, 1,229 for commissions, 1,150 for pinups and illustration trading cards, 1,000 for the non-comic related pieces, and where are we at after that? 988 for sketch covers and convention sketches, 925 for media artwork, 895 for strip art, and then 888 for other. So, I was kind of thinking we were going to see like this terrible, I thought it was going to be a lot worse, lower in the categories that weren't as important, because I was hoping we'd see a category that we'd say, gosh, these people just aren't interested in it. They're only submitting, 35 artworks, and we're only getting 300 votes being cast in that category. But we're not seeing that. I mean, while there's a big disparity between 888 and 1,600, at the end of the day, that's still quite a few votes cast in the other category, for instance. So, I
think I think there's also just space for more awards. We breeze through 5s through the 10 so quickly, and we're not even mentioning the creators. So I think we could easily get to a kind of more involved process, and as cliche as it may be, things like a best newcomer and categories like that we see across different award shows probably have some merit, because it's a category that can interest current collectors particularly, and it's very of the times. So that brings our hobby up to date and encourages a lot of modern collectors to kind of participate, because a lot of the winners were very old artwork.
Agreed.
And I think that's something we should consider as well. Not that it's a bad thing, but how are we more inclusive of the other artwork that's being posted?
Right. And I mean, I have a thought for that. I just want to, Michael Callahan, there was actually a, it was called the best, I've got too many windows open again, but there was a sketch category. Sketch covers and convention sketches was one of the categories for submission. That was the one that JD won, I believe. So, so that one is out there. What might be interesting, because remember we had talked about when you're adding, and I guess it should almost be on your artwork to begin with. I mean, in one sense, but the year that it was created, is one. But that should be on the artwork when you're adding art to CAF. You should be able to put in a year, or at least a year range. If we're, at the very least, you could type in a year, but probably going by 10-year increments might, I don't know. That's something to discuss. That's why we've never added it. It's too complex. But when you're adding artwork, if we knew the year that the artwork was actually created, drawn, or as a sketch or published, that would be a bit of data that we could have. And then also people talked about, and this would only be on the best of side of when you add a piece, was picking a price range so that you could actually even be really granular. Because think about this, you could actually have 3 awards in the cover category if we could separate artwork created from 2001 to current, 1980 to 1999, and then anything prior, 1979 and earlier. That would give us, and it doesn't matter the votes, because if I could only look at that segment of art, it doesn't matter that one piece, the winning one overall had 80. If we're only looking at pieces from 81 or 80 to 99, it doesn't matter if the top vote getter had 33 votes. It's the disparity there, but we're only looking at a given time period. So you could almost give out awards by time period, saying the top piece created in this period, was this one as voted on by CAF.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because we see evolutions in style.
Right. Because then it's not always, I mean, we want to see the Wrightsons, we want to see the Frazettas, but at the same time, it's not allowing us to see more modern work or work that just is going to fall through the cracks. But, the votes are still the votes at the end of the day. So definitely the date range makes a lot of sense. Price, I think at the end of the day, I know that's kind of like, people are like, well, my $500 piece can never compete with a $5,000 piece in the interior category. Never. And I get it. But, I don't know. I mean, it could be added as something that maybe we kind of look at and then decide, it's not helping us really, redefine the best of it in any good way. But I think date range of art, for the art being created would be really, really important, because it would allow us to give out multiple awards in any of the categories, or at least give out multiple recognition for those pieces. So and it's a big thing. Like I had a few emails from people after the best ofs where they were like, I didn't post anything, because I feel like it's a competition, and I know I can't compete against these, the masters, even if I have a great piece of art. And if we give people the opportunity to just look at things a little bit more granular and see that their artwork actually placed high when compared to pieces of a similar period, that that might be more incentive to post more often. So date range definitely has to become a factor. It's just a question of how we define it, the gaps in the age ranges, whether it was Nick's comment about doing copper bronze, if we want to use those kinds of things, or I still think by year is better, but again, something to work out, and we've got time to work that out.
Yeah, Jason does make a good point with the pricing and with trades, and sometimes it can be completely impossible.
Right.
Really
I think price would be a bit confounding, but at least if we were comparing the time periods.
Date range, just with artists, immediately those two data points alone gives you a lot more flexibility to dive in and make different tangents. So it's a good start.
Yeah, and see, there's so many different ways to look at it. Fish saying best pencil only piece. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people are saying best pencil and then also best painting. So kind of diving in a little bit deeper. And it's true. I mean, I think all of the covers I voted for were colored, just because they stood out to me differently. Sure. Right. Well, and again, it's I mentioned that during the show. It's like it really depends on the taste of the person casting their votes for the pieces that win. I mean, if everybody who's voting really loves the classics, then Wrightson's always going to be on top. But if you were bringing in more modern collectors, I think you'd have a different eye. I mean, you can never tell, right? It's what's there and who's voting. Rob says the same kind of thing. I think we'd find a way to work with the date range concept. It will definitely be worked into next year. And I have to believe at some point it will be worked into just adding art to your CAF in general. So, because I've wanted it for a while, and, I would still lean towards like a 10-year window, so it'd be 80 to 89, 90 to 99, and at least to give it a date range, unless people really feel you need to say that it was made in 2000 or 2003.
I can't imagine it would be less than 10 years.
Right. Okay.
And even 10 years is already like, how many awards is that now?
Right. That's a lot.
That's 8 awards just in that category, probably.
Exactly. All right. So we got to work on it, but I think that there's room for improvement there, because I think it will help give people incentive to post more, because they'll be able to go back and look at it and integrate it as part of the preview time as well, so that people can start looking at the artwork by date ranges and periods there. That'll let them know, hey, this is going to be a little bit more fun than it has been in the years past, rather than seeing you see that stellar burn cover that you just can't compete against, and so you just give up without even adding a piece of art. So a better communication by me up front, in the months leading up to, the deadlines and everything, I think will help if we can show that and show how we think it's going to help change the overall best of voting and results. And, because again,
I thought the voting was really, the way you guys did it, where you could whittle it down with the favorites and then cast your vote. It made a lot of sense to me. And I was speaking to some other collectors about what was the best way to approach it. And I would just basically do one category every morning.
Right.
Take like a 20-minute chunk or however long it took.
Sure.
And, but yeah, people need to kind of come to terms with the fact that it does take a little bit of time to vote. And certainly if we develop them further, it's not going to like get shorter because there's a lot of artwork to look at.
Very, very true. So, all right. So I've got the date range. And, I've got a big price on a question mark next to price though.
And for example, Fish was mentioning a way to reward write-ups on pieces, which is again something great that you want to encourage from posters. But that would, I think, that would require, as far as I can tell, almost a separate like button for the comment, and then at the end of the year, you look at which gallery garnered the most write-up likes.
Sure.
That's one.
But that could be done. I mean, yeah, that's the kind of data we could get out of CAF for sure. I know Maureen could pull that without too much problem. All right. No, I mean, these are the, but I think I just want to make it, more fun. And
I want to hear what people want to, like seriously, what do people want to see? What do you guys, the community, want to see out of? Did you get any of the million emails, Bill, after your solicitation?
Not really. I thought I would get more, I guess, but I did. I got what did I get here? I mean, I don't want to read. I just to dig through.
No, but just like common themes.
I probably got about 5 or 6 emails on different things. Somebody said that the most commented, the person who left the most comments every year, it should become like the Walter Payton Award, and we should just call it the Marcus Way Award. That's
I cannot imagine him being busted. That number, right, I was thinking about that number today. Just outrageous.
I know. I really want to go back and just have Maureen run a query just to tell me how many lifetime comments has, because we figure we've crossed that million mark. If Marcus hasn't got 100,000 of those, I'd be shocked. So, that would be an amazing number to see. And maybe it said something, we pulled that out when we award the award to Khalil next year, as the runner up to Marcus, but he's next in line. We'll let him know how far he's got to go to measure up to the master. So, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I've seen a lot of interesting thoughts in there. Somebody said best indie art. I mean, again, that comes down to granularity, and it means, the trick is, when we only allow you to have 5 pieces, it makes it a very difficult choice for the collector on which 5 pieces they're going to pick. So if they feel they've got 5 better covers than this, early Ninja Turtle piece or something that is out there, or Strangers in Paradise piece, they're going to probably pick their 5 covers because those are the ones that'll probably get more votes, and they leave the indie away. It makes it a challenge. Yeah, I still like the 5-piece concept, because otherwise, if everybody was allowed to put 10 pieces in, then we'd have we would have had 3,400 or 3,500 pieces to look at this year, and it would have been even more complicated to go through them all. So the 5 pieces is a really good I think limitation that we impose on the collectors. I mean, we want more participation. I'd rather have 500 people participating to get to the 2,500 or 700 people to get to that 3,500. But the further out we spread things, the fewer things we're going to find get assigned to these special categories. So, I mean,
and I think that's what James was kind of mentioning earlier when he suggested some sort of round robin form of voting. I think that would come once this system grows larger, almost like hopefully, knock on wood, when it's too large to tabulate votes like in this particular way, then you move to kind of a jury situation where the community maybe puts forward like 50 pieces, and then that gets whittled down to 10 finalists or something like that, that people can vote on. But I think that's down the road, hopefully. But I think at the moment,
Right.
the community is small enough where, the numbers you're talking about, 400 voters times 5, how they do it across the categories. That could easily get, if there's 20 categories, you just cut it down to 3 votes with, maybe 5 submissions.
Right. Yeah, that would be one way to think about it too. But yeah, I think we need a DPS category for sure. I mean, I guess we pretty much cover. When I looked over it, DPS is the only art category that's really lacking in that list, and it's a glaring oversight. So I think it's getting down to the granular stuff is really what we where we need to fine tune things and fine tune the awards going forward. So at least as far as submitting art, I think that those are really good points. And again, if we add in, I don't know, I say again, there's so many other I like the indie idea, doing something like that. But I do think that wouldn't probably be the direction I'd want to grow Best of next year. I think if we can make some of these things a little bit better, and work on the list of items that you had related to creators and some of that granular data. James, I know how it goes, man. I bought all my DPS pieces. Just you got to hold them back and share them later. I'm going to put my my Vampirella cover up this year, and I got it in 2021, but it's going in the Best of 2022. I'm telling you right now. So let's see. Anthony was. I'm getting yelled at by Fish. What's about something last? Anthony, we crossed the 2-hour mark. You're done, Bill, tonight. 2 hours 50 minutes. Tell me. Yeah, I know. Oh man, you should have seen my. I got a lot of heat from the girls in production last night. They were like, when it's over, it's over. You just tell them it's over. There's no recaps. So I got put in the doghouse after they had to drive home from Florida that day and then run the show that night. So. But
I'm seeing a lot of comments about the other category.
Well, the other category was tough because I looked at of course the Rights in Peace was fantastic, but is it okay? But it's an it's an unfinished, unpublished piece. But it was labeled as if it was made for a published book. So in a weird way, I felt like is it really in the right category for other? Others just too general. We certainly don't have any descriptions written for these either, which doesn't help, or example images. So if we really wanted to help collectors, a little bit of education up front saying this is what we expect to see in these categories. I mean, some are so self-explanatory they don't need it, but you do it anyway because you're trying to create a guide. But I think that the other category is a bit nebulous, like almost like we should police it a couple days before the submission period is over and say, maybe that, hey, so-and-so, maybe that piece should go over in this other category because it really doesn't fit here. It really belongs over there. But it's really relying on the collectors to properly categorize the artworks that they're submitting. So
I think Derek's also asking a question that a lot of us, maybe newer collectors, would have, and that Brian would have been perfect to answer about the unpublished and published.
I think it came down to the whole. Otherwise, you'd have 20 categories, right? The best unpublished interior pages. Well, it wouldn't get a lot of submissions, but
maybe they all just go into other, or maybe unpublished goes in with other, and other fights, off all of the dog fight.
No, I mean that would be one way to look, or you just lump all. You could say you lump everything unpublished into its own unpublished category. I just don't know what would. It's I don't know, because then you're going to get.
And if people are asking for pencils only as a category and color or paint only as a category, that would take a lot of that stuff out of that other category, leaving it for really maybe just unpublished becomes a category.
Right, well, that's what I'm thinking. But then it's like you might get things like people mistakenly putting commissions in there or something, even though there is a commissions category. It's got to be really explicit on what we mean by unpublished. We mean artworks that were created for publication that ended up unpublished. And so
and can I know CAF has some volunteers like Rod. Maybe people could kind of jump in and guide people in the early parts of the submission process, send an email or a note saying, hey, this piece doesn't belong here.
Right. And we may have to do that. We may at the end of the day have maybe what we need. This might be the way to go, because we don't really give you any time from the time the submissions end to the votes start. I mean, it's immediate. There's no transition period. I mean, if we gave ourselves at least like one day for a group of us to like just do a quick review of things and make sure everything's in the right, and maybe even at least in the week leading up to the end as well to kind of clean things up. But yeah, again, by and large, most things aren't in the wrong category. It's just, sometimes it happens. So let's see. Ruben says a lot of the unpublished art should be lumped together. I mean, I agree. You just don't know what you're going to get, right? At the end of the day, I think it could be a very mixed bag of great art in the unpublished category. Strips have to be in their own category without question. So yeah, like Mel mentioning best newcomer artist. That's one of the things we wanted. Mikhail had brought up about wanting us to do this time is to try to create, define that, and that might not be from a CAF metric at the end of the day, or even an art. That might just be something where somehow we're able to generate that list of 10 people to vote on, and rather than it being something that comes out of the artwork posted, we run a separate survey of CAF collectors, and ask them to vote on their best newcomer artists. And it's just something that we add as part of the overall best stuff. At the same time, I'd like to know how much collected art made it from those creators as well. But it would be interesting to get people's opinions on that. I mean, it might become a popularity contest and get a little messy, but it would be worth an experiment at some point.
And what about the possibility of taking metrics from dealer sales?
Oh yeah, we talked about that was a thought in there. I mean, sure, there would be it would be interesting to see to pull that information out, like you were talking about Kirby art or Burn art, or we're not just necessarily talking about trying to get repped art, data just in general.
Right, like so every piece that's sold from a website that you host, you have a theoretical price and you have an artist name attached to that piece.
Right.
So I mean,
yeah, we could. Yeah, I could
uh,
definitely extract a lot of data that way. And I honestly want to do a year-end report that I've been meaning to do since 2022 started, was, doing some kind of a recap of 2021 and art sales. And you're right, having a lot of data about distinct artists and their sales over the year would be good.
Well, Ruben, what we're talking about is the best newcomer artist whose work is posted on CAF. So it would relate to the site.
Lots to think about, Mikhail, because we could come up with different criteria, that are kind of outside of the general categories that people could submit to. Like, that you can submit your 5 to the general categories, but we create some really special particular awards, like you said, most popular cover created in the last year that's collected on CAF would be a special one. So you get your 5, but you can also post pieces into this one, and it would be limiting, right? I mean, how many people are collecting covers that were done in that same year? You're not going to get 100 pieces in it. Well, you might, but at the end of the day, it would make for an interesting category that falls outside of the art category type thing, but it's creating a special award for art created that year. I mean, you could almost do it for a cover or an interior page, and there's some ways that might prove interesting, because we are celebrating not only the best, then we're taking it beyond just saying we're celebrating the best collected art from 2021, but we're also celebrating the best artwork created in that year as well. And I mean, it might be a way to approach it. You'd have to I still think that those kind of special awards might fall outside of the 5 pieces, though, just so you get the people to participate in the long-standing tradition of the art categories, but we come up with these special ones, and they could even change year to year. If you I'll say if we're doing a year best of 2021, it would want to be artwork created in that year, and it could be even it could roll into some of those. Definitely give me the best con sketch created in 2021, because we see. I mean, come on, my piece, that John Byrne piece. I don't know why I got that many votes. I think people were voting on it because they had my name on it. But at the end of the day, I mean, it shouldn't have been there. I mean, I don't think. But again, you can't compare it to Aranga's Kion piece, or whatever. At the end of the day, they're just so different. I think if we focused on that particular year and came up with some special categories of things to post to, that would be unique and rewarding to the creators too, because maybe we can get their involvement a little bit more. After this, post show, like let's bring on Joe Linsner to talk about this convention sketch he did.
Absolutely, yeah.
And because it won and it was done in that year, so that might be an interesting way for us to approach.
And I think similarly with the if a younger artist wins best con commission or something, and we have them on, it's a great platform for everyone. We get to learn more about this artist, and the artist gets to share more about themselves, and just have more awareness of their work. I think it would be a win for everyone.
Right. And I get where everybody's, I'm with I see everybody talking about tying it to a piece. So that's why I think I like this idea of, a wrinkle for next year of focusing on art that was created in 2022. And, by category, I mean, we have the cover, DPS, splash title page. You could have an interior page. And then you could still do strip art. I mean, that, because with something like that, strip art, I mean, how many pieces from 2022 are we going to see that get entered there? Because right now it always ends up focusing on the Schultz pages and the Hal Foster pieces, deservedly so. But this would actually get us focusing on artwork done in that last year. So there may only be 10 pieces to vote on, but at the end of the day, we're still celebrating artwork created in that year as well. So realistically, when you look down the list, I mean, you could almost say you could do that for almost all of the art categories we already have. But I mean, I guess we could talk about it. But I like that idea, because now we're trying to tie it to current works being done, which just will bring up and bring out more new artwork. It'll encourage.
The date ranges alone will immediately bring a lot of that up.
Awesome. All right. Nope. All good thoughts. And Jason says we got to vote an Aranga piece in next year. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're joking, but
it's true.
He would be best new artist of, he would be in the running. Like, who else? He was a nobody, this engineer from Alabama, and now, suddenly he's getting pieces featured in best of, and, so that's exactly the kind of artist I would put forward.
Yeah, that's true. What are the top 5 categories submission wise? Well, that's an easy one. We can just look at the list page, but it's always interior pages first at 349, covers at 320. You'll see splash pages had 197. Pinups, illustrations, trading cards had 134. Then the commissions and recreations had 350. Convention sketches and sketch covers only had 95. How is that even possible? I mean, that just defies logic. You would have thought that a lot more of those kind of pieces would have been added. And I don't think it's because of COVID. People are still getting commissions, maybe not as many con sketches. And then
I know 2021, there must have been double the normal amount of commissions.
I would have thought so.
With 2020.
So it sticks with the main ones. Your commissions and recreations, the interior pages, splash pages, and covers are the top 4 always. But I think, and because again, once we put DPSs in there, you still only, if we had it in there this year, we might have only seen 40 or 50 DPSs. You never know. I mean, but it needs to be added because of the disparity, in how they're treated. So I agree that we still need to add it. But when we looked at the voting again, the votes are being cast in those categories as much as in the more popular categories where they're adding art. So, I'm okay.
Would Dino's Blue Superman 4-board piece have been in the DPS category? Like, we just all multiple board pieces go into one category?
Yeah, I guess so, right? I mean, we could look at, you're right. I mean, I think so, but we need to describe that. That's sort of why almost going into it, we need to have that primer set up so that people can read days before everything gets started. Go here. If you don't understand what the categories mean or how we want you to interpret, this is our view, how we view what these categories are and as we define them. So you got to follow our rules, not your rules. You know, like the way the word pinup is used very loosely. Some people say it's a pinup when it's been published, you know, and so we need to define those terms really, really clearly so that people aren't using their own interpretations of these things as well. So, you know, and honestly, CAF doesn't really have anything like that on it at all, you know, as far as trying to lay the groundwork for firmly establishing what these art types are and how they should be defined. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to actually approach it that way and then use that as a guide for when we're doing this.
And you know, I think we seriously have to think about monoprint or some sort of, you know, is that something that people are posting to CAF?
They are posting it, but there's such you know, so many people hate monoprints. I mean, you won't get a lot of votes in it. You'll get votes in it from people who also like it. I'm not saying anything bad about mine. You know, at the end of the day,
I'm just trying to include everyone.
I know. You are absolutely right. And you know, yeah, it's funny. I actually wanted to talk about Infected by Art, you know, the book, because we sent out the announcement for the winners on that on Monday. So I had a very busy week, but over there, you know, almost half the submissions are non-traditional digital work. I mean, what are you going to do? Exclude it? You really can't, because in those mediums, half the artists are already digital, you know, doing card art for Magic the Gathering. Yeah, there's half of those creators are you know, are already non-traditional. So
and you know, we want to take a holistic long view of things.
Without question.
Having a category for these things, even if small, creates a record that in 20 years we might be very grateful for. That this is how it started, this is how it went, this was the progression.
Right, because you're definitely not going to see someone posting a monoprint into any of the art categories because they know they aren't going to get any votes. So if we created just a category for it and tested it and saw what kind of participation was in it, we could give it a couple years. I mean, at the end of the day, I do agree that, you know, we're talking about the creators here and we're talking about art collected, but at the same time, you know, we're CAF, so we really should be inclusive and not excluding those areas. And again, I get a lot of that's the one thing I get the most hate mail on, is like, I hate it when you feature a monoprint here or there, and I get it. I mean, I understand, because it's not a leap that I'm willing to make right now, but I don't discount the art, you know, and the creativity at all, but it's just not something. It's like NFTs. I'm not ready to buy into that yet either, but I get it. And it's going to be a part of our hobby one way or another. So yeah. All right. I'm open to doing something in that area.
And you know, there's Brian Bolland's working, but he's all digital. Do we want to exclude him from art considerations in the future?
Right.
Christian Ward is a brilliant colorist, you know, but he's all digital.
Right.
I think we have to be open-minded about these things. And
right. I mean, George asked that too. Should it be separate or included in the existing? I just think that it would be so overlooked, probably, that
and you can make an argument for that. The fact that the tools used to create it are completely different from the tools used to create traditional art.
Right. Yeah, and in Infected by Art, we separate the non-traditional from the traditional painting. You know, you don't mix them together. And even though they're so very similar anymore, honestly, when I'm looking at it, sometimes I have a hard time, at least until I look at them really closely. But so you got to keep them separate. It's just a completely different language between the two. So you know, we'll start slow and see where it might take us. But again, you know, it's still back to being something tangible. It's a collected item, so it's got to be a print. It's not going to be somebody submitting their digitally colored, you know, piece of something else and trying to pass it off. We need to really say we're talking about monoprints, you know, a one-off that is being sold by a rep or an artist, and define it really well so we don't get people mixed up on what we want in that category. Sorry, I'm trying to read through the chat at the same time too, but Tim says maybe in a few years, but not yet. Well, I mean, why don't we see where things go? They are becoming more and more prevalent. I mean, when you look down 2 or 3 reps out there, their list of creators, their lists are gradually, you know, growing with the artists that aren't doing traditional work. You know, they'll do a traditional cover.
You know, Pepe Larraz.
Yeah.
Lee Bermeo.
I know it's tragic, but you know, you want to buy his traditional pieces, but they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. I mean, you know, because Cadence, reps a few, Comic-Con Art, their list is growing, and many of them are non-traditional now.
Mitch Garrett's.
Yeah. So it's just it's becoming a fact of life in the hobby. So we'll see. We'll work it out. But I don't even have monoprint as a category of art type yet. So, or as a medium.
Or digital art,
Digital art. Yeah, it's really, yeah. See, I've got to think of, again, there's a lot to consider here, but I'm open to trying it.
But, I think it would be great to have a submission period where people can send their well-collected thoughts on the current situation. And, I'm happy to read a bunch of emails and collate them and kind of parse through them. And I think if the community comes together and sees the changes and agrees by and large, I think everyone will have a really good time delving into the categories next year.
I agree. Monorail. Man, Marcus is always on. Man, I don't know how you do it, Marcus. I do not. So, all right, I'm good. I'm good with that. Let's see.
Design concept art. I think that goes into illustration unpublished other.
Right. I think that does exist. I mean, like I said, Brian put a lot of thought in these. I mean, he got kicked around for years.
No, I didn't come into this lightly. I knew. I mean, obviously, the way it was written and stuff, there was briefly experienced the CGC forums, I can well imagine.
Yeah, no, I watched it, but that's why I kind of kept out of it. Early on, I felt like this is Brian's thing. I'm happy to host it for him because I feel like, I owe something to the Comic Art L, and I always kind of have felt that if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be a CAF. But I never wanted to kind of wade into that area. I let Brian take all the heat of creating these. But at the end of the day, I really don't know how DPS isn't listed on anything. But he did take a lot. This evolved a lot. I mean, there used to only be 6 categories, I believe, and so it's expanded to 10. And I think it's pretty clear the way he's got it now. But DPS has to get its own. So, all right. George is biased. All right. I think I'm not seeing any new thoughts from the chat here. I'm going to have to get with Brian, though, and just kind of go over things and apologize for taking too long tonight. So he wasn't able to participate in this. But
fine. We'll have a best Batman art category as well.
Well, I mean, at some point, the users of the site can come up with their best like sub voting kind of categories. You really okay? We can go that route. But it's then that would be like the collectors awards that happened after the best of. They're going to come in and they're going to pick their best character pieces, and yeah, Samuel Rojas is telling everybody to go to sleep. Let's see. I think we have enough to chew on for the moment, Mikhail. I mean, I
think I really thank you for being so open to like some new ideas, and I just I echo everything that Marcus said in this video about bringing the community together.
Right. No. I mean, Marcus was spot on with all of that, and and I appreciated hearing those thoughts too, because I just think Marcus is out there having fun, but he's really working for the hobby. He's working for all of us, and he's encouraging other people to get in and be a part of things. So we all can learn from Marcus. Yeah, Marcus way. I know. So, all right. I think we have a few things that we can work on, and I've definitely got some stuff I could talk with Maureen about as far as the changes to categorizing and handling years. I still might bounce some ideas off you and a few others on how we want to make that granular approach to it, whether it's 10 years or 20-year SWATs. But I think we have a lot to work with here to make next year's art awards even better. And I'll be able to plan ahead a little bit better as on with the trophies as well. I mean, I love doing the Thor hammer, but I'd like to maybe come up with something a little more artish, going forward. I'm not quite sure what that is, but who knows what it'll end up being. But I want to do something different, and maybe we do a different trophy every year. It'd be kind of cool, if somebody wins multiple trophies over a couple different years. They've got these different CAF related trophies on their shelf. I think that'd be really fun.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Incentive to complete the whole set.
Right, exactly. Well, then, wow, see, there's so much potential in there. I don't think my uncle wants to. Like I mentioned, I wish I had it here. I thought he was printing them hollow. He was telling me it took him 14 hours to print one. I'm like,
one?
Yeah, and because every 3D printed item that I've ever seen, usually has like a honeycomb built on the inside just to give it support, and they're not solid. Whatever he printed these things, I mean, they weigh probably a half a pound. They're really, really weighty. But when he told me they took 14 hours a piece, I'm like, what is he doing? There's no way they should take 14 hours. And so that's why. But I'm glad he did. I mean, when you pick it up, it feels like a trophy.
Well, it's fantastic that it came together so serendipitously and that he was able to do that.
It was so funny that because he had mentioned to me that when he was up here in December that he was dabbling in it. He's retired now, and he just said, "Yeah, I've been really getting into it." He showed me. He actually had brought some things. He's like, "Yeah, I made these. These were really cool." And I thought, "Wait a minute, I could ask him to do this." And so I did. I paid him. He's very happy. The heritage money went to a good cause. So I'm glad I was.
Wouldn't it have been funny if he told you that he's minting NFTs instead of doing 3D printing?
It would have. It definitely would have. But I'm glad he was 3D. And the funny thing is, I have a 3D printer in the other room because my daughter Gwen is very much into doing 3D related work. That's what she's doing at Full Sail. And so I told her, I'm like hoping that next year you can be the one to design it and print them, because we have all the gear here. We just haven't gotten skilled enough at it to do it. Whereas, he's done it enough and knows all the tricks, and was able to basically did one a day to, starting around January 1st to put them all together and get them mailed to me. So, but
well, trophy idea submission can be a competition for CAF.
It could. But like I said, I've got a whole bag of hammers, and I mean it's and also the little. I actually have to end up gluing the CAF part on there, but he went all out. But here I can see. So yeah, see, they're solid. And when usually everyone I've ever seen would be hollow. So I'm glad he did it. They are awesome. So. All I'm like I told everybody, I just had my girls are going to be painting the handles on the hammers, and once they're going to do that this weekend, and I'm going to get these out in the mail. So I haven't asked anybody for their mailing addresses yet. So if anybody's wondering who is owed a trophy, as soon as probably this weekend, I'll shoot out emails and get everybody's mailing address to get them out.
I've got a couple of them. I'll send them to you.
Okay, good. So all right, well, I think we've got a great direction. The best of awards are going to be much better next year. I think, playing some of those video clips, if we can do it during the show, will make it all the more fun. I want to have guest presenters next year, because the one thing I did learn, Maureen was right. When I wasn't in my element in a new show format. So I think having other guests on with me to help do some of the presenting would be fun.
Guests with names like DINO.
Exactly. I think that would be, that would be great. Having a pair of presenters for this award. Especially, even in the one that's, I'm trying to think, what was the Stephen N one, the non-comic art category? Hey, I want Julian and Stephen to do next year's non-comic category, something like that. And then you have a Dino, and we just, let's get some celebrities from all of what occurs over the next year. Yeah, exactly. I think I agree. And it'll make it more fun. It'll be easier for me. Then I'm just the host. I can focus on that, not stammer my way through the show, and have a lot more fun. And then I can focus on the production side of things, because if we're going to be showing more video clips and those sorts of things, I'd rather be more focused on that than having to handle all the presentation stuff. So it'll be a more polished show next year. I guarantee it. And as Matt just said, the winners from the prior year, absolutely, as many as we could get. So, all right, listen, we are at the 2:45 mark. And still have 60 people watching the show. I appreciate it.
I know, brave souls.
Yes, exactly. And Larry, if you can work out getting Kevin Hart to co-host, that would be great. I'll owe you a dinner if you can work that kind of magic. But again, thanks everybody for taking the time. And I'm going to reach out to Brian tonight and let him know what we've come up with thoughts wise here. And we're on it. We're going to make next year even better. I promise. So thank you, Mikhail, for reaching out to me. I mean,
thank you, Bill.
You've been a great friend in the, for me in the hobby, and I mean, you've really helped me, see the value in the work that CAF has provided over the years, and the power that the channel's had to make this hobby a better place. And so, I just appreciate all of your thoughtfulness and your conscientious advice that you've given me, and the suggestions. I mean, keep them coming. We're working together. We're gonna just make 2022 even better than the last couple of years have been. So thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
There you
Thanks
go.
to the community.
Yep. Fish says ML is awesome. Mr. Put Together. All right.
Nice.
And with
Just
that
because of
note,
Zoom. I'm not wearing pants, Fish.
oh boy, there we have it. So, all right, everybody, thanks again. And, I think this is the last show until next Monday. So I've got a few days off. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you again soon.
Have a great week.